Wait. Earth's mightiest heroes must come together and learn to fight as a team if they are going to stop the mischievous Loki and his alien army from enslaving humanity. Hey guys, welcome to another week of Watchers Week. This is a weekly podcast that we do as we review all the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, gearing up for Marvel Studios' The Avengers: Infinity War, coming out May 2018. My name is Tim, and I'm here as always, joined by the Doctor himself, Chaz. How's it going?
Well, it was going good. I had no idea we were starting, but that's all right. You know what?
Yeah,
I'm
kind of,
here,
kind of getting
everybody.
off the hip there,
I'm
Steven,
here.
without the countdown.
I'm here. We're good. It's going. And we're going to talk about Avengers and it's going to be great and I'm not going to pee myself.
And also, we're here joined by Steven. Steven, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. I didn't do a countdown because I thought the music would be a countdown for you guys.
Yeah, but you
But I'm
kind of need
ready.
a
I'm ready.
countdown for the
Let's go.
music. But I mean, hey, that's fine.
Yeah, it's a global phenomenon we're about to review, discuss, and rate. I'm pretty excited.
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. Um, yeah. So this movie kind of starts off with the get go, where we kind of like get a little bit of the setup of the movie. It kind of continues the trend that we've been discussing about, um, where we kind of have different openers. So we have the opening with um, the other kind of doing a voiceover talking to Thanos about Loki and like the whole plan that, or I guess all of Thor's plans and stuff like that. And then it cuts to Nick Fury and then the whole Tesseract ordeal. And yeah, so what do you guys think of all those, those different openings that we usually get?
Well, I thought it was a great opening, especially where we get the line from the Chitauri General or Thanos Priest. I don't know which one it is.
It's the other as his name.
Oh, it's the Thanos Priest?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, no, it's just his name's the other. I'm not saying it was the other title.
Oh,
His
okay.
name's
So,
the other.
all right. Well, I don't know who that is, but the other
It,
guy
it's the
was saying
it's the
that
one. It's the only one that doesn't have a name. Everyone else has a name.
right. Yeah, the one that shall not be named.
It no,
Says
it's it his he has a name. It's the other.
right. Okay.
He is named.
I don't think they ever said his name though, to be fair.
Right, but it's in the credits. I mean, I
Nobody.
that's the first thing I looked up. I was like, is this some guy I'm supposed to know? Is he like who's that guy from the Black Order that was in that Infinity comic a while ago? It's like Proxima Midnight's husband or something like that. I thought it was that guy.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah, but then I looked at the credits and it was the other. So anyway.
Okay, so the
Well,
other.
what? Oh, what?
Go ahead.
I was just going to say when I first saw this movie, I didn't know who the heck he was. I was just like, okay, this is a random Chitauri leader and I had no idea he was even talking to somebody. I thought this whole time he was kind of like split personality or something, and he was just referring to himself in like third person. But yeah.
Corvus Glaive. That's who I thought it was. That's
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah, that makes
Proxima
sense.
Midnight's husband. I thought it, got the hood and is a gross alien.
He does look like him. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Anyways, we get the line that says, talking to Thanos about Loki, where it says, "A world would be his, the universe yours." I was like, "Oh man!" Like, I don't know. My always thought rewatching this Avengers movie, or maybe I'm just catching it on TV every time it comes out, was that it started out with the Nick Fury shield thing. I was like, I totally forgot this whole part about this amazing scene where we get between Loki and Thanos and the other.
Yeah, absolutely. I personally kind of like the Shield opener better a bit because it feels like finally we get to see him kind of doing something. Because before we would just get snippets of Samuel L. Jackson or Scarlett Johansson, and Shield was very shadowy still and less of an organization. So to finally see them kind of like, walking around, doing stuff, having a bunch of personnel on, on site, that made me like, okay, this is the Shield I know from the comics.
And also in the other in previous films, they kind of weren't as grand, for lack of a better word, as they, are in the comics, because they were sort of just like the FBI, like what
Mm-hmm.
you were saying. They were more shadowy. Um, so in this one, we finally get to see like a bigger, a larger scale of what Shield is all about.
For sure, for
Yeah.
sure.
What was
And,
also interesting is, for me, when Loki comes through the door and says he's Loki of Asgard, I was like, oh, you still think yourself an Asgardian? Like, I thought, you would accept your frost giant heritage or something, but no, he still considers him as the rightful king of Asgard and as Asgardian as well, which makes
well, I thought that was more kind of like just a notoriety thing. Like, oh, that's Loki from Asgard. Like, if he was like, I'm Loki from Jotunheim, they'd be like, oh, so you're not the Loki from Asgard that we all heard about? No, I'm that one. I just found out I'm actually a frost giant. Oh, what? Oh, like then you'd have to give the whole backstory and all that
yeah,
jazz. So might as well just save time and do the whole. Yeah, I'm that Loki.
right. The
It's all about the branding.
yeah, it is. He really does like to brand himself on everybody else.
Yeah, which I mean, I kind of liked how we got to see more of Hawkeye because I didn't forget about him in Thor, but I was curious as to like I did not know until like I saw trailers for Avengers that he was going to be like a part of the Avengers. I was just like, oh, that's a nice little nod to Hawkeye. I did not think Hawkeye was going to be on the Avengers roster.
Right. He still, though, in this movie was kind of, at least for the better half of the movie, kind of pushed to the background, though, because he was mind controlled.
Right, and I thought about that, and I'm like, because no, I like Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye, and well, I mean, I wasn't a fan of Hawkeye, but then I don't know if you're reading the newer Hawkeye. I forget who it's written by, but the newer Hawkeye comics and stuff like that are actually pretty good. All the ones with what's her name, Katie Bishop, and everything like that. Um, but I like Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye, so I was trying to like think of ways how they would, kind of what else could he have been doing, so that way he's more of a part of the team rather than just mind controlled. And I mean, I think they kind of have like all the bases taken care of, because like, who would Hawkeye go recruit if he wasn't, mind
Yeah.
controlled? I mean, they kind of handled everybody. I mean, Thor needed to make his dramatic entrance. Um, Iron Man was picked up by Phil. Um, Natasha went to go grab Hulk, and Captain America was picked up by Nick Fury. So it was like, no, we kind of really don't need Hawkeye.
Well, and it makes sense because he's sort of Fury's right hand guy. And then we get the line later on, uh, I lost my one good eye. So it kind of makes sense for the narrative.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say the thing with um, Clint Barton, Hawkeye, is that he was always a part of Shield, most likely, because he told Natasha later on in the movie that she's a spy. So it kind of makes it give the effect, makes you think that he's not a spy per se. He's like more of an agent, a soldier, or toward that level of genre. But yeah, I always figured he just came with Shield. Like he was more of the Shield face than Coulson was. Coulson was more of the fun side of Shield, and then Hawkeye was more of the serious part of Shield.
Yeah. Before we get too ahead of ourselves, I was gonna ask why why was the Tesseract hooked up to that like arc reactor deal? Sorry, I know I'm getting off topic from
No,
Hawkeye.
you're good. Yeah. We jumped
Um,
around.
yeah, it was like hooked up to that arc reactor deal and totally just like in the open. Like, why wasn't it in some sort of containment cell?
Well, I like to think that that big old room was kind of like their version of a containment cell. um, or maybe even that arc reactor thing was a containment cell, because they were kind of just messing with it, and then all of a sudden it shot a beam out, boom, portal open, which I don't think they even thought it could do.
Right. I think the whole point of this movie was to harness, well, I mean, besides the whole battle and the team up, if Nick Fury had his way and the project kept going on to phase two, uh, which they would successfully have to harness the Tesseract, which what they were, I think, trying to do during that time. They were just like poking the bear and seeing like what it
Well,
does.
yeah,
But
because doesn't Nick Fury mention that he's like, get all the phase two stuff in the truck?
right, right. So that's all the equipment, all the guns and the missiles, probably, and all the blueprints, maybe. I'm guessing, or all the old World War II Hydra stuff as well.
Yeah. But
Which,
what
I mean,
I meant by like a containment cell though is like, like one of those like hazmatic uh box type thingies that are like clear plastic, and then you put your hands in the gloves and you like mess around with the hazardous whatever thing you have.
yeah,
Like, why didn't they have it in
like
that?
Howard did in Captain America. Howard Stark did.
Yeah, exactly. Why didn't they have it in something like that, like more contained, where someone wasn't just gonna like crash in and either take it or it shoot a beam of energy and open up a space portal.
Well, I don't think a box will be able to stop a Infinity Stone from doing whatever it wanted to do, and also, like Clint Barton said, Hawkeye, he said nobody came in and nobody left, so they were just all stuck there, uh, building, I should say, just like for days and weeks on end.
Right, right, right.
So yeah, good
Did you
point though. I mean, like this movie, would be a lot better shown, but it wouldn't be as cool though to see the Tesseract in a box.
did you guys like Loki's whole takeover
What do you mean takeover?
when he comes in through the portal and mind wipes a couple of the people and trashes up Shield and like flips over a helicopter and basically runs away. Just does pulls a drive by on him.
Well, I liked his initial entrance when he blasts a couple dudes, and I think he stabs somebody or something with his scepter,
Yeah,
and then he starts mind controlling people. When it got to the mind controlling, I was like, it's kind of, I don't know. It wasn't fatigue because for some reason right now I don't recall a previous film uh, utilizing mind control, but it was just, I don't know. It was just kind of like, oh, this is typical of something a comic book movie would do or something like that. I don't know.
hmm
I was gonna say I really like the beginning because it's action packed, it's informative. It's like the ending of a movie at the beginning of a movie, and they did indeed lose the pacing of that. They didn't like keep up the hype during the whole movie, but it was overall good. I mean, like the beginning though was a really great. The Loki, yeah, like the doc said, when he comes through the door and he's all like covered in fire and blue flames and everything. I was like, man, that's a cool opening for anybody. But then it seemed like I don't remember in the fight if he was hurt, but he was stumbling and looking tired throughout that entire exchange. Like as they were walking away, getting on the truck, he was like very fatigued or something like that. And I think it has something to do with going through a portal, right? If I'm not mistaken.
you're probably right.
Those portals
uh,
just drain you, dude. But I'm glad you brought
yeah,
up the portal
it's
because,
it's like jet lag.
yeah,
Right, right.
because if you look at the way that portal opens up and how it kind of has a blue ring around it and it's mostly black inside,
Mm-hmm.
like the vortex or whatever you want to call it. Um, for those of you who have recently seen that Infinity War trailer, it's very reminiscent of this. The trailer that is very reminiscent of this portal opening up. So I just thought that was kind of neat
Right.
little nugget.
Yeah, and then after this whole Loki coming in, smashing and grabbing, uh, uh, Nick Fury's ready to call in the Dream Team, the A game, the A team, I should say, And now it's time to go get the band together. Which I like how they did Black Widow's one. I could see after watching this one again why people are so adamant about having a Black Widow movie. But honestly, I would just be fine with the Black Widow Netflix series. I know we mentioned this in Iron Man 2 when she was first introduced to the MCU. But again, she shows up here and it's a pretty good interrogation scene.
Right. This entire movie kind of felt like a background Black Widow movie. What with the interrogation scene here, like she's at work, this is what she does. Normally, this would be the meat of the story. And then when Loki interrogates her and pretend scares her, that's her background, kind of. And then with Clinton, when she's talking with Clint after he got mind swiped, it's like, oh, that's why she's doing this. That's her reason. So I don't know what they would do for a Black Widow movie, but I'm not against it. I just, I'm curious because it's not an origin story. I don't think, I would hope not, because we get that at Age of Ultron, but I just don't know what it would be. I'm interested. I would really love one, but I'd be curious to see what they do with it.
Well, the thing is, guys, is we're getting a Black Widow movie, and it's called Red Sparrow, and it's starring Jennifer Lawrence, and it's gonna be great. It's coming out later this year. Can't wait for that.
I don't know if it's because they casted Jennifer Lawrence in that one. It's like that, but I think I would be more excited about it if she wasn't. But I guess that's another topic for a different podcast, a whole different podcast.
Yeah.
But then, and then we move on to, I think Hulk's next, or Captain America. But we get introduced to Mark Ruffalo's Bruce Banner, which I kind of liked how they kept the kind of world traveler Bruce Banner, and how he's always kind of like seems to be in a different place at a different time, helping people.
I like how we got, with every film that Hulk has been in, even the bad one, the original one that came out in, when was it? 2002? 2002? I forgot. Who cares? The Ang Lee one. Like in the Ang Lee movie, we got a different side of Bruce Banner. We got the more, I don't want to say cowardly, but he was scared. He was more, there you go, sheepish. He was fearful. In the Incredible Hulk, we got the not
best Bruce Banner performance. I agree.
Well, the best, but he was on the run. He was a fugitive. There we go.
Yeah, I was gonna say, very fugitive MacGyver kind of.
Right,
crunchy.
And this one, he's still. You can tell he's still, has his head, looking behind his shoulder or whatever. He's still looking behind his back, but he's more of the doctor type. Like I got a lot more doctor vibes from his introduction. Yeah.
I agree. Totally.
I was going to say, what was interesting to me is that Black Widow thought the big guy was Tony Stark, but it actually was the Hulk. So I don't know what that's supposed to mean.
No. She says, he said, what Coulson says is that, like we got to recruit him, and she assumes that, I'm going to be sent after Stark, but he's like, no, I have Stark, you have the big guy. And she's like,
no, she calls him the big guy. He goes, you get the big guy. And then she's like, Stark doesn't trust me. And he goes, no, I got Stark. You go after the big guy.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
I think that's how it went.
Yeah. It was weird. And I was like, what is that supposed to mean? I think that was just Robert Downey Jr. like, say I'm the big guy.
What was even more...
just
sorry.
Defaultly be the big guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I would think, if anything, Thor would be the next big guy, if anything, but...
That's got to be. It's probably different. Comment down below if we got that scene wrong. Please tell us exactly how it went down.
What was even more confusing, though, for me is when Banner is in that desert and the little girl sort of hands him money, and then she eventually runs off or whatever with the money. And then he's like, should have got paid up front, Banner. I was like, what? You were really going to take money from that poor little child? I was like, you're a horrible person.
Man's gotta eat.
I know. I understand. I was fixing to say that. I know he's like a fugitive and he's on the run, and he's low key, so he probably doesn't have a lot of cash or whatever. He's running low. Maybe he needs to eat today or whatever. But I'm like, she's a little girl. Like, you can take money from somebody else. Dr. Bruce Banner.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
that
then
was a little messed up.
we get moved on into the Captain America recruitment scene, which
Well, actually, there was one
this was
point.
at
There was one point from the Hulk that I wanted to bring up that I didn't notice before, but when Bruce was talking to Natasha saying we don't always get what we want, I was like, oh, that's cool. That's him talking about the Hulk. Like, you're not going to get the Hulk. We don't always get what we want. But he was also touching a baby crib when he says that. So I was like, oh, wait a minute. Like, after my 16th time rewatching this and watching it with director's commentary, I was like, uh, that it meant like he can't have kids is what we'll get into with Age of Ultron, but it's a nice little touch and go when he's like, we don't always get what we want looking at a baby crib.
Steven, I think you deserve a reward for watching every Marvel film with commentary. You deserve some type of reward.
We'll see if I can last as long. I lasted 6 movies. We'll see if I can go all the way into phase 4.
But I'm glad you brought up that scene because, real quick before we move on,
no, you're good.
Natasha gives him the most perfect exposition, and Justice League should have taken a cue from this scene. When she's referring to the Tesseract, she says it has the potential energy to destroy the planet. That's it. That's all we needed. That's it. That's all the explanation we needed. We didn't need anything else of what the Tesseract was. And yeah, just in retrospect, now that we've seen, Justice League and all of that, I was like, we really don't need these super explainative, whatever, explainos. Yeah, we just need something short and sweet and then get the movie going.
Right,
Yeah,
I agree.
I think Marvel does a good job of expositional dialogue. I think they have that craft to a fine art.
Yeah, we talked about it in Captain America, the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of Captain America, we get moved on to his powerful scene. And I know we talked kind of bad about Captain America before, but I do appreciate Captain America in this movie, and I think we got a little bit of it at the end of Captain America, right? This was like the post-credit scene, kind of.
This was like, I think, the last scene of the movie, if I stand correct.
Yeah, I think it was like this is an extended version of that because we get to see him kind of like bust up a sandbag as he has his Nam flashbacks as he's pounding onto this uh, uh, punching bag, and then it busts and he just sets it down and picks up another one, and I was just like, man, this little small scene still speaks volumes, I think, about just kind of what kind of guy Captain America is. And then of course we got Nick Fury coming in saying like, hey, getting the crew together, and is there anything you need to tell us about the Tesseract? And he's like, you should have left it in the ocean. I was like, oh man. I was like, like Cap will follow orders, but he's got his own opinions on stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Cap is a really great guy, and I love the scene with the sandbags, mainly because it, like, in case you forgot, dealing with the whole Thor and the Iron Man and the Hulk, we got another big hitter too. He's just not a guy; he's a guy that's also a super soldier. So I think it went to prove that, and also to say how incredibly lonely this guy is. If all he's doing is punching a punching bag over and over again until it breaks and then getting another one. I mean, I know Matt Murdock does Daredevil, but
that's the thing though, is like he's a super soldier. He's got to have like a super gym, man, but he doesn't. So he's got to like grab like 5 times of everything.
Right, that's true.
Well, he doesn't have one yet, but I mean, now that a little Fox deal's going down, he might get a danger room in the future.
Oh man, awesome!
But
that has to now be a scene where the entire Avengers and the entire X-Men are going to town.
Oh my gosh!
Danger room. Oh my goodness!
That's something I always kind of envied about the X-Men is the Danger Room, because I'm like, why don't everyone has one of those? Like, you know, that's like the best, awesome like training thing ever.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. They haven't really utilized it a lot too. But yeah, I thought it was crazy that how Steven was saying that he just like picks up another one like it's nothing.
Yeah.
well, I
And
was
just
gonna say what was also cool about this is that before this, Nick Fury was talking to the council, and he says, "What we need is soldiers." And it cuts to Captain America, and you're like, "Oh, get it?" Because he's a super soldier. And then when Cap said about the Tesseract, saying, "You should have left it in the ocean," we cut to Iron Man in the ocean. So I was like, that was pretty good, Wheaton.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yes. Speaking of Iron Man, we get to see Iron Man finally set up the clean beacon of, or the beacon of clean energy. Uh, yeah, and it's a nice, it's a nice little moment. We get to see, is this the first time we get to see the walk and the disassembly
Yes,
little runway that he has? Because I thought that was cool when I saw it, even for a second time.
yes, I believe it was the first time because before he would just stand. I think he rotated in Iron Man 2. I'm not too sure if he rotated in Iron Man 2, but he never walked.
I
Right,
don't
right,
know.
right.
I
Okay.
feel like in Iron Man 2,
Iron Man 2, we got
uh,
the expo scene where he's kind of like on a rotating thing, which was just, I think, a rendition of the first time where he's just standing still and it
Right.
disassembles.
okay, yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, this was the only walking one.
Yeah. Always upping the ante with Iron Man, which I really appreciate, from going to a character that I felt was a little kind of, one dimensional. They really kind of just are like, what else can we do different with him? And, Marvel put a lot of eggs in the iron basket, and obviously it proved
Yeah.
fruitful.
Yeah, out of all of the Avengers movies thus far, um, this one in particular, he definitely shines the most. Um, and just watching this movie again, I feel like he actually, uh, during phase one and even into phase two, Iron Man kind of outshined Captain America. And it was just interesting watching this film again uh, that Chris Evans is kind of, I don't want to say he's robotic because there are moments where he seems more natural, but I don't
Just
know.
kind
It
of
feels,
bland.
yeah, bland. There you go.
Yeah, he's the Boy Scout character. He's a hero. Blah blah blah. Strong jaw. Yeah, I get what you're
Well,
saying.
I would think that this is Robert Downey Jr.'s third movie as Iron Man, and everybody else's first or second uh, role as their character. So he definitely feels the most comfortable in his skin or suit. Um, but I would give it to that, the way the acting is. Like, oh, they didn't really have time. I mean, Thor and um, Steve Rogers only had a year to really get into the character, and then Mark Ruffalo got like thrown into the character. The only other one is probably Samuel L. Jackson, who is great in anything, and Natasha Romanoff, who was also in the second Iron Man movie. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Tony and Robert Downey Jr. in general was like really at his peak at the end by the end of phase one.
right. Man,
Yeah,
that's so much so.
Because it was before he started, before Robert Downey Jr. himself started like complaining about his salary or whatever. So
what did you
Yeah.
guys think of the dynamic between Phil Coulson, Captain America? I kind of liked how they went the fanboy route and was just like, let's just make Phil Coulson like really big into like collecting Captain America memorabilia.
that was pretty cool.
Come
Oh
on,
no,
Steven.
spoilers, Steven.
Oh,
Listen,
Oh
I
you
man.
have it
don't
under
have a
Coulson.
better
I'm
picture
sorry.
of
That's the only
Phil?
picture of Coulson that there is.
No, there
There
isn't.
is.
There's
Yeah, there's
gotta
like
be.
no other pictures at all.
You have
Oh my.
no other pictures.
No, I have a Captain America picture. That's the same, right? That's the
Yeah,
thing.
sure. It's better.
I
It's
can
You
pull
not
it up
this.
again if you want.
You
Please
couldn't
don't.
even you couldn't
It's
even
right
get a
here.
like just a regular picture of Clark Gregg.
You know, I thought
Yeah.
about that, and I was like, what good would that do? There was one with him with sunglasses, but I wanted to
Oh,
see those
yeah, a
beautiful
million.
eyes. You know, the life dying from those eyes. Yeah, as he takes his last
It
Well,
breath.
kind of sounds like you wanted him to die.
You know what? If that means getting him his own TV show, then hell yeah, I want him to die.
not even his own TV show. Anyway, I I I kind of liked the helicarrier scene, but I was kind of expecting it, right? I don't think anybody was surprised that the aircraft carrier they're on was actually the helicarrier. Like just seeing it happen was just like the same way it happens in my imagination. I was like, yeah, this makes sense, you know. So I appreciate them putting it in the movie, and I appreciate the special effects people doing things like that. But it was kind of a necessity, It was required for this movie.
Yes. Based on
There are some technical difficulties.
No worries.
Um,
don't work on that.
So then we get moved on to
Well,
um,
wait, hold up. With the helicarrier, I don't agree with you about that helicarrier scene because for me, that was like the best scene ever. Like, I'm not too sure how a helicarrier looked back before Avengers in the comic books. I
it
just
looked
know the
just like
helicarrier
that.
I know now.
Looked like a big old metal thing in the sky with all the four
yeah,
things with the four helicopter parts, and yeah.
and I'm gonna fact check it right now, but I'm almost positive that those animated movies, the Ultimate movies, Ultimate Avengers,
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure those came out before these movies, this movie in particular, and I mean, so that we also got a glimpse of the helicarrier.
Yeah. It's totally the same.
But yeah, helicarrier scene was pretty awesome. I think. Oh wait, no, that is the scene where Steve meets Natasha and Banner. I thought we skipped
Yeah.
that. Sorry, my
No,
notes
no.
are all mixed up. Yeah, that was really cool because he was like, really, they're gonna put me in a submarine or whatever. Um, and then we also got that really great line of Cap saying, they're talking about how things have changed or whatever, and he's like, this is actually kind of familiar.
Yeah.
Which, okay, I didn't want to talk about it, but I feel like I need to bring it up because he said this twice now in the MCU, maybe even three times. Can't remember. But every time he says something about like this feels familiar or this feels like home, there's always guys running in a group off in the distance or right in front of us. He says it in
It's
Avengers.
not like a jogging meet. It's it's PT. It's physical training. It's yeah.
Right. Yeah, but like why does it always have to be those guys? I feel like they were the same guys in Age of Ultron at the end.
No way, no way.
They're not the same guys.
Someone fact check me down in the comments below that I'm pretty sure they were cast as the same. I think they're a group. They're probably a group called the Running Guys.
Um, I think we skipped a part where previously in the beginning of the film they had set up this gag that would later pay off with Steve paying Nick Fury $10. Because in the beginning of the movie he was like, $10, you haven't seen everything yet, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that part was really funny too.
Yeah, when
Well,
he's
why
like,
always 10
yeah,
bucks?
I've seen everything, or nothing will surprise me anymore. And he's like, you want to bet on that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, hold on. I'm just now. Yeah, so I fact checked the Ultimate Avengers.
Which I mean, he, Captain America flew in the Valkyrie. Like he should have been like, oh yeah, big planes. That's nothing new, but whatever. I guess it's fine.
Well, it's a
So
big
that,
ship.
sorry, that Ultimate Avengers animated thing came out in 2006 and this movie 2012. So there was
Yeah.
a 6 year difference.
Boom.
So
All right. Yeah. You boomed me. So wait, what's after this?
That's when they find out Loki's in Germany.
yeah, I have the ballroom scene in my notes just because that's one of the
Yeah, and he takes an eye.
Major plot
Hawkeye
points.
does some cool stuff. They're there to get iridium, right?
Yeah, Plutonium, where uh, it
No,
advances the plot.
it's the Avatar thing, unobtainium.
Oh man, this picture not working.
Um,
But yeah,
what was great about the
iridium.
ballroom scene though is that this entire time, or with the first Thor movie, it kind of helped us to sympathize with Loki, him, not being uh, a true son of Asgard, all of that, him not being accepted, and then this film kind of shows how mad he is and like how brutal he is when
Yeah,
he's grabbing that dude, like what you were saying, him taking the eye. Um, which the scene in general was really great because, or I guess I should say the scenery was really great because the sort of statue that he lays the dude on almost looks like a sacrificial table. So it like
uh
almost
huh.
fits in with the Norse mythology and all of that and how the Vikings were, brutal.
Oh, for sure. Uh, yeah, I think Loki just treats the dude like he does, how he views humans. He's just like, you guys are things, and I need this thing in particular. You know, so I totally thought the way Tom Hiddleston acts in this movie. I mean, he gets a lot of acting scenes, which is great. Him being the main villain and everything. But yeah, he does a real good job with just even some of the lines with the parts where he has so little lines, just the way he moves and acts and stuff like that.
Yeah. And
What did you?
the music played a big part too, because whoops.
It's the
Uh,
orchestra, right? That the ballroom's in and stuff like that.
yeah. Who scored the music? Was it Danny Elfman?
I think you're right. I think you might be right on that.
I want to say that, but I'm not too sure.
But what I was gonna ask you guys is, what did you guys think of the old guy in the big old sea of people scene where he stands up? The Mexican standoff with Loki.
I appreciate him standing up. I think he's a cool dude for standing up and not being. I don't know. I think he was just honestly stretching his legs because as an old guy, those arthritis, it's no joke. You got to stand up. You can't like bend down and expect him to kneel all day. He's got to get up sometime. Otherwise, he's going to be stuck there. But no, in all honesty, he really did stand up when others wouldn't. So, I mean, it was noble of him to do so, even though he probably did not know that Captain America, the guy from World War II, was going to come in and block it at the last second. But yeah, going back onto the reindeer games, Loki going into his look per se, the whole walking down the entryway and being all glowing, changing his costume really adds an effect uh, that I really like. And the costume was really great. I mean, that's probably the Loki that everybody knows today. He doesn't really. I don't know. I personally I don't like his new Ragnarok look. Um, but I guess it hasn't grown on me either because Avengers was so long ago. 4 or 5 years ago, something like that, 2012, like 2018. Anyways, but yeah, this is where slowly people are starting to come together in the movie per se. It goes from Thor, no, I'm sorry, Loki to Captain America to Iron Man. Now we got Natasha, Clint's Hawkeye somewhere else, so he doesn't really count. He doesn't come in till way later, a little bit down the line. So I guess he is the last Avenger instead of Thor, like most people think. He's the last Avenger to assemble.
I swear, I just heard every word you just said, but also I was fact checking something. Alan Silvestri was the composer, and he was the one that did Captain America. Okay, continue.
Cool.
I was,
Cool.
I was,
Please don't be upset.
I was gonna say, I think it's, I mean, because Thor doesn't even really assemble yet. I mean, he shows up, but he's like, I can do this by myself, and I also don't know what you guys are doing, but this is Family Matters,
Love that show. But yeah. Man, I
Which I
am.
have to appreciate. This scene also did give us a lot of, well, I think this movie in general gives us a lot of quotable lines from it, because the whole like, oh, what are you scared of little lightning? And he's like, I'm not overly fond of what follows. And then when Captain America says to Iron Man, "We need a plan of attack," and he's like, "I have a plan, attack." I was like, man, back to back. And then with Black Widow saying these guys are basically gods. There's only one God, ma'am. I'm pretty sure he doesn't dress like that. I was like, oh man, this is a lot of
Yeah,
quotable lines in this.
there is. The only quote that I still have a lot of issues with is Nick Fury's whole, "Are you saying you want to step on us?"
Yes, the ant in the boot whole
Uh,
little callbacks throughout the movie. I did not think of it as that memorable of a thing. Like, I'm pretty sure Samuel L. Jackson was like, he'll remember this, but I'm pretty sure Loki didn't. He was like, I don't know what he's talking about.
Must be a human thing. Talking about boots
Yeah,
and
yeah.
ants.
Um, but yeah, so now that they've got Loki and everyone's kind of there, which we got to talk about the fight, because I think this was shown in the trailers and how like everybody was like, oh man, the Avengers are gonna have problems before, they're gonna fight, duke it out. And I kind of like how Whedon went a little bit of his ways to explain why Iron Man could go toe to toe with Thor. When Thor hits him with the lightning and all his energy input output gets boosted up and all that kind of stuff. I was like, okay, this because you knew that eventually it was going to be probably picked apart by like nerds everywhere and just be like, well, that doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense.
well, it was because I mean, even before they get to the fight, uh, we have the three ravens, Odin's ravens,
Mm.
flying around on the mountain with Thor and Loki.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was great.
And that was picked apart, but also the fight scene, like what you were saying, that was also,
Which
who's
yeah,
stronger.
again, another thing. I think I'm trying to blow over this real quick. It's a lot of movie. It's a lot of movie to take apart. But I did like this because it was very reminiscent to me of Thor, which I think I gave a perfect score to, right? 6 out of 6.
Yeah.
And it's just another more of that kind of uh that brother rivalry slash disdain and all that kind of stuff where he's like, I remember your shadow. I remember growing up in your shadow and stuff like that. I was like, geez, Louise, and Thor saying like, you come home, you forget all this. I was like, ugh, this is all on a mountaintop and the ravens, and it was like, oosh.
Well,
Another.
it wasn't just like the brotherly aspect of it, but just the dialogue in general, like what you were saying. Like Whedon nails the dialogue, the sort of how I envision, Thor talking or whatever. Like when he was like, "So you take the world I love as recompense for your imagined slights
Mm-hmm.
and all that." I was just like, "Geez, this is like Shakespeare." And
Like
Whedon, I mean,
Mark or something.
Whedon is like a student of Shakespeare, so like he's incredible with that sort of thing. I'm actually really surprised that in the lights of Ragnarok now
Mm-hmm.
being out, that Whedon actually didn't get to do a Thor movie, like a Thor standalone movie, because
Yeah.
I feel like he would have really nailed the character and the dialogue in general.
Well,
I
I
would
think
I
you
wouldn't
think
mind
we
to
have
see
been
his
better
take
than.
on the Dark World because
Yeah.
that couldn't be probably worse. I mean, it probably could
Right.
be worse, but I don't think Whedon could make it any worse.
That's what I was
Yeah.
about to say, man.
Yeah, there was a little bit of fallout. Not as bad as probably like Snyder and DC, but there's some fallout there.
So do you think Thor, because him and Captain America kind of have a bromance throughout the MCU, Thor and Captain America, I should say. Do you think this fight, withstanding his hammer blow with the lightning and his full force, his full swing, and like still standing, saying like, "Are you done?" or like, "Are we finished here?" I was like, "Wow, I would respect the hell out of that guy." And I think that's when Thor does it, or do you think like it's later on down the line when something else happens when they're fighting back to back against the Chitauri?
I think that maybe this is where they get respect for each other because we
Yeah,
do have a lot of moments where they're together when they're fighting the Chitauri. Um, but I don't think the friendship really, starts to cement until like maybe sometime between Avengers and like Age of Ultron because they're both kind of like warriors slash soldiers mixed with they have like morals and values because Thor needs to maintain to be worthy so that way he can, wield Mjolnir. And Captain America, that's just the kind of guy he is, being the leader and everything. He has to set the example. So I think both of them realizing they're in kind of like leadership roles slash positions of power, kind of know the burden of that each of them kind of hold.
right. Okay, so right here, right now, with everything and everything related to MCU, related everything to the comics, in all seriousness, who would actually win in a fight between Iron Man and Thor? Let's go to Doc first.
Wait, between Iron Man and Thor, that's it?
Yeah.
You're not even gonna throw Cap in there?
Well, Cap didn't fight. He just withstood. No, no, no. Well, you can throw Cap in if you want, but it was Thor and
I was
Iron
gonna say we
Man who
should save
fought.
this question for when they're all in that room being susceptible by Loki's, you know, or the mind gem.
Yeah.
I say we should
Well,
hold off that question until they're all in that room. I want a battle royale. I don't just want these three guys
yeah,
doing
we can
this.
definitely hold off, but I'm just gonna say this that Iron Man's trashed. I mean, but we'll talk about Thor and Cap later. But Iron
uh,
Man is trashed.
so the Avengers have captured Loki, all part of his plan, and we get to see them all in that big old meeting room at the Hall of Justice, at the Hall of Avenging. Um, and I think these are kind of just where the little bits of exposition are right. I think this might be just where everyone kind of gets their last few moments with Coulson because Coulson comes in with Tony Stark, and Tony's like, "Oh yeah, I'll ship you out to Portland and see your girlfriend or whatever." And then later on, Thor's talking to him about Jane Foster, and trying to open up to Phil like, "In my youth, I courted war" and all that kind of stuff. Like everyone kind of has their kind of last moments with Coulson.
That's really sad. I didn't think about that.
It
I
wasn't
really
really
thought,
sad for me because it all happened kind of fast. Even though this movie felt long and like Tim said, it was a lot of movie. Some scenes in particular, like these scenes in particular, happened so fast that when we do eventually get to Coulson's death, I was like, is this really what propels the team? Like, this is like the main driving force. You're telling me this is the main driving force. I was like, I don't know. I don't know
I
about that.
think I think it drives Tony. I would say it drives Tony a little bit more to be a little bit more serious, a little bit more sacrificial, as we see later on in the movie. But I don't think it like motivates Captain America at all. I don't
I
think
was
so.
gonna say because I don't think well no I think Captain America a little bit because Captain America talked with Phil Coulson a little bit and Tony Stark too. I don't think it messes with Thor that much because Thor doesn't even like know. Well, no, he does know. I was gonna say he's right there when he kills Coulson, when Loki kills him. So yeah, I think it has to be. Yeah, he is the driving force of the Avengers because everyone is alerted
Yeah,
to Coulson's death.
but Thor's relationship with Coulson, the only thing that Thor knows is that this dude sent other dudes to beat him up and take his girlfriend's equipment I mean, to me, that's
Well,
not
why
really.
does he scream out no then? Why isn't he just like whatever?
Well, I have the answer for that, and it's because Loki killed another person, making it harder for like it's driving Loki more into the evil Loki than his brother Loki kind of sense. He's
Yeah, and that's a
getting
good point. I'm
closer.
glad you brought that up because there's a piece of dialogue um, back in the wood scene with Thor where he's telling Loki, give up this pointless dream. And I actually laughed at that because I was like, wait, you're telling him to give up this pointless dream of wanting to become king, but you're pretty much dreaming in the sense that you want your brother to come home and expect everything to be all, airy fairy, when in reality, he's like a murderer. So, I mean, yeah, it's like the same thing. Like him yelling no was more to the fact of, oh no, now my brother, is beyond redemption when
I wouldn't
really
say I
he's
wouldn't say
been beyond
beyond,
redemption.
but a little bit farther away from it. That's for sure. With every stab and every
He
kill,
tried, well, yeah,
Eyeball
but
taken.
yeah, and he
eyeball.
tried to blow up Jotunheim, a whole planet. So
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't. I definitely think Thor knew the guy because he just talked to him a little while ago. But like, did he feel anything? I don't think so. So it only kind of quite says who needs pushing, and that's Iron Man. Iron Man needs to be pushed a little bit more.
yeah,
Um,
I totally get the Iron Man thing. That makes the
yeah,
most sense. But as far as the rest of the team and how they were kind of distraught, really? I don't know. I didn't buy into it that
For
much.
sure, for sure. Comment down below if you guys think Phil Coulson's death mattered. I'm just kidding. uh, but yeah, as everyone's kind of, you know, Tony Stark's little computer virus bug works its magic, and Captain America does his super sleuthing, as well as Natasha and Nick Fury coming in to apprehend Bruce Banner. Everyone gets affected by the mind stone. What do we call them now?
mine Infinity Stones, mine
Yeah,
Infinity
they
They're
Gems.
stones.
stones.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
They're gems to me. um, but yeah, everyone's all arguing who's better and who's stronger and all that kind of stuff. And Hawkeye comes in and totally just wrecks everything up. One arrow, bam, whole thing gets thrown out of whack.
yeah. I mean, he does know how the helicarrier works, so it would be reasonable to know and why how he takes it down. And that takes up most of the movie, right? This helicarrier falling scene. It
It's longer, yeah.
takes a
I
chunk of the
definitely think
movie out
so.
of it.
But there's also I think a lot of stuff going on because not only is the helicarrier falling, but then the Hulk comes out, which this is our first big old Mark Ruffalo turning into the Hulk, our Hulk transformation scene. And man, do they really just lean into? Nope, not. We're not there yet. That's a different kind of monster.
But don't look, because dang, someone's up with my pictures. But yeah,
um,
there you go.
but we definitely get to see. I think they again lean into the Hulk monster movie vibe to it,
Oh,
and
maybe.
yeah, I just wanted to get your whole thoughts on this first time seeing Hulk in the MCU. Kind of, well, I mean, Incredible Hulk kind of in the MCU, but
Right. Well,
they do mention it, which I'm glad.
I was gonna say, does right before Hawkeye kind of throws everything out of whack and Banner puts down the thing and they look at where the Tesseract is and then he says, "Oh my God!" and then the explosion goes off. It kind of zooms in so that he knows that the Tesseract is in New York, right? As of then, he knows the Tesseract's in New York, and that's why he said, "Oh my God, it's right there." It's close to New York. He probably knew the exact location, but then he gets turned into the Hulk, and then he gets thrown away from Shield, so he can't really tell anybody, which
Exactly.
is terrible. Like I was. I didn't notice that before. I just said he said, "Oh my god," because it was just like, "Oh my god." I don't know. It was the "Oh my god" for no "Oh my god" reason. But then to know like, oh, he had it. He had it in his hand, and he just could have said like New York, it's at New York or something like that, and then they wouldn't have this whole like scenario. They could have sent a team in or something to contain, but no, it was at the last second. That kind of is what upsetted me the most in a good way. It was a good movie point. But yes, besides the Hulk, there is that one scene where he like moves away from Natasha and then like looks back over his shoulder and it's still kind of Mark Ruffalo in there. And he looks so sad, like a kicked puppy or something like that. It just really threw me off because Hulk isn't supposed to be like a sad, green, plushy monster. He's supposed to be like the angriest Hulk, strongest there is. He's angry.
Well, in that moment, though, the way I like to think of it is him looking back and looking at her. He's being reminded of Betty, who's absent uh, from the Incredible Hulk afterward, or after the Incredible Hulk onward. Um, so I don't know. That's just the way I see it. What I really appreciate though about that scene, I'm glad you brought it up, is actually Scarlett Johansson's performance. She finally, in that scene with her trauma being, I guess, brought out because she's already been traumatized from her past. Um, she, her acting chops finally resonated with me because I mentioned this before in, I believe, Iron Man 2. Yeah, Iron Man 2. That Scarlett Johansson for me is actually a lot of like Jennifer Lawrence a little bit. Like sometimes she's a little robotic and her acting isn't all there. I know we were talking about J-Law just a second ago, or minutes ago, but yeah, this was a definitely a really good moment that she shined.
I would say that her acting is indeed sometimes dull, but her stunt work is on point from the get go. And I love her stunt double, who his name I have no idea it is, but I know it's a Scarlett Johansson stunt double that really shined in Civil War, but also shined in here a lot. Yeah,
Um,
I was
for
gonna
me,
say
oh, go ahead.
props to Scarlett Johansson for working with a CGI monster and having this whole facial expressions and the whole acting. This acting scene was really great, and it also made Hulk look very scary. I know in Incredible Hulk, he looked pretty terrifying, but in this one, it was more like closed con- confinements more, and it was just terrifying to see how fast and how strong he is.
Yeah, for me, uh, with the mention of Betty, I kind of would have liked um, when he kind of confesses to everyone. He's like, "Oh no, I tried, killing myself. It didn't work and stuff like that." For me, because I kind of figured they weren't going to introduce Betty again into the MCU. Um, I wouldn't have mind if instead of saying, "Oh, I tried killing myself, it doesn't work," and that's kind of like our sad, feel bad for Bruce Banner, is if he was like, "I did kill Betty as the Hulk," and that's
Whoa.
like a huge thing. Yeah, yeah, because like that kind of again touches on what you were saying with the baby crib. He's like, "Well, we can't have what we want," you know, and that
Okay.
again that explains to him why he now helps people with as being a doctor rather than just running around kind of caring about himself.
I don't know. If he killed Betty, I don't think he would ever turn into a Hulk again. Like no choice. Like even
Yeah,
after
that's true.
like accidentally the whole moped scene, he would just like go the opposite direction of New York. That is
But
really
see, while that is a really good narrative idea, it will never happen because one, Disney, and two, Liv Tyler. She can't be killed.
Did you like Liv Tyler as or Liv Taylor? Liv Tyler? Liv Taylor? Did you like her as Betty? Because for me, again, as a comic book reader, I think of Betty as eventually she becomes Red She-Hulk. And I'm
No,
like,
not for
I
me.
could not see her get angry at all.
No.
Like when she anyway, yeah.
To me, Betty is Betty.
Okay.
But she's like, I don't want to say she's the, I don't know. She's not a damsel in distress, but there are a few characters who, for lack of a better word, are damsels in distress, and they work. Like, I feel like in the Christopher Reeves movie, even though Lois Lane was a powerful character all on her own, she was still, damsel in distress, and that's kind of like what Betty is for me.
Right. I see what you're saying.
So yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
let us know in the comments if you want Betty Brant to come back. Or is it Betty Brant? What's her last name? Betty Ross.
Betty Ross, yeah.
Betty Brant, Spider-Man. Sorry,
Yeah,
Spider-Man guy. That's all.
Yeah, I don't mind if they recast her, but it would be awesome just to see a glimpse of her.
Yeah, let us know down in the comments you want Betty Ross to show back up in the MCU. So
But
yeah,
then I was gonna say Thor starts to fight Hulk, right? Next
yeah,
scene.
Hulk's loose now, so now we get a Thor versus Hulk fight. That's what I wanted to get into.
Did we
Get
answer
that?
in a brawl out fight, a battle royale between the Avengers? It's Hulk, right?
Oh, right, the battle royale where they're all arguing and stuff like that. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious on who wins, right?
Right. Okay. We all said
Well, hold up. Is it obvious? Because in this one, Thor doesn't really realize that his powers are within himself and not really within his hammer. So he's kind of in his uh, a more, I guess, vulnerable state than he would be later on in the future
right.
films.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. See, in my book, Thor is pretty much the person who would be able to defeat the Avengers.
Okay, but what about Hulk?
I know he punches the hammer, but he's just hyped up on adrenaline. If you go toe to toe for a couple of rounds, he's gonna tire out.
I was talking about Hawkeye.
Oh
Yeah.
my god! Oh my god!
Actually, in Old Man Logan, Hawkeye is the only survivor Avenger because he was the one that like stayed back and then ran off. So if you think
Oh,
about the
I thought
survivor,
I
We'll
was gonna
see.
say I thought you were gonna
Oh
talk about when Hawkeye actually kills Hulk in the comics.
oh yeah, that too. Hawkeye did kill Hulk in the comics.
yeah, you see in the comic books, I agree with you, Stephen. Hulk all the way, but in the movies, in light of Ragnarok, like we mentioned before, um, like they've established this new thing that Thor might not need his hammer all the time, and so I just think that in the MCU cinematic universe, it's Thor. I don't know. For me, that's just my opinion.
Yeah. Well, definitely, if we're taking the future films into effect, definitely Thor is a contender, I would say. But in a battle royale, I don't know. I mean, no doubt it would be an epic fight, but it
Well, wait,
would.
are we just talking about this Avenger group, or are we talking about?
The
Or
newer Avengers.
yeah, we should save that for Civil War.
Yeah. All right. So, Hulk jumps out of plane, gets knocked down. He's separated. Thor falls down in the Hulk prison, gets separated.
I was gonna say, which is a great scene between him and Loki, Thor and Loki, where he says, like, "Are you ever not gonna fall for that?" When he jumps into the cage, thinking he was gonna tackle Loki. I was like, "Ha, he does fall for that a lot." But we get. Oh wait, is this the part where? Yeah, part where.
Which, well, yeah, what?
I was gonna say I have it here. There it is.
No.
Yeah.
Yay!
Coulson
Yeah.
dies.
Yeah, I'll leave that pickup for a good minute or so, just to let it really set in while I talk about how great Loki is and how great stabbing He is a great stabbing arm he's got, just full of tricks and sleeves.
He's literally a backstabber.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yes.
Wow.
Wow.
I never
That
saw
wasn't
I never
enough
saw it
for
till
this
now.
commentary.
You just blew my mind.
But yeah, man, what part are we on? Is the helicarrier still falling? I think it is.
No, Iron Man and Captain America fixed it using the power of their bromance.
Right. So, yeah. Do you think Hulk,
Which I'm glad
Thor?
which I'm glad in this scene where Captain America gets to punch a couple of guys, we get to see that sandbag punching, come into fruition. Where when he punches you, you kind of stay down. I mean, you got punched by Captain America. You're not getting up for a while.
Right, right. That's absolutely true. Just like Coulson isn't gonna get up for a while.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, Tim. But I didn't like the whole gunfight with Captain America and the Loki hippies, where
No?
the Black Squad crew. He was just like, "Pow pow, use your gun," and I was like, "Cap, it's an automatic gun. Just use your Captain America skills. Use your super soldier serum to just throw the gun if you have
Yeah,
to."
but gun works really well when it's used as a gun.
But it wasn't working.
Gun.
Like he tripped. He tripped and fell out of a plane. That almost was the end of Captain America. I don't know. That scene to me wasn't Captain America per se. That was more of a skinny Steve popping his head back up.
He's not bulletproof. He didn't have his shield with him.
Well, take some hits. He heals fast. His metabolism is pretty fast.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he couldn't eat his way out of a headshot wound when he's got a hole in his head.
Well, I mean, that's his fault for wearing this poorly sewn costume and not a helmet.
Yeah, I was gonna say they were really ill prepared for this, which I guess is the whole point. But I mean, Iron Man had a whole time to get suited up. Why didn't he grab his shield and helmet?
Well, because he only had like one suit. This suit was like ruined afterward, and he kept on using it. Why
It's
do you
not
think he only
ruined.
bring only one?
The shield is never ruined.
No, Iron Man suit. I should say Iron Man suit. He only brought one onto
Oh,
field.
right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying is before they went to go fix the plane, Iron Man had the chance to suit up. So why didn't Captain America grab his shield and helmet?
Probably because he knew that his shield would fly out of a giant hole on the side of a plane.
Yeah, you're right. That's probably true.
What do you think of Captain America's outfit? I think I have it pulled up. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
I just noticed the blue like ammo belt. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, and we know that later on, apparently Chris Evans had a problem with covering his ears or not covering his ears or something. But yeah, I don't know. Do you think that face mask thing can block a bullet? I think it can probably deflect a bullet.
Yeah, I think it's like Batman level.
Yeah, stab wound or something like that.
That helmet?
Yeah, this helmet that he's wearing. Yeah.
I don't know if it should even be defined as a helmet. To me, it just looks like a regular cowl, like something. Well, no, Michael Keaton's mask was more rubbery.
But it's hard.
Yeah,
Like,
but I don't know.
I mean,
anyway,
Maybe it's just a paint job that makes it look like plasticky.
do you think it was right for Fury to sully Coulson's vintage collective cards?
well, as a collector, what do you think?
Heck no. I don't care what motivation you need to give him. I would have thrown Coulson's body on the table before I would have gotten some of
Yeah,
his
and what?
blood and smeared it on his favorite cards, and then yeah,
Yeah, what
that's
was the point of that? Like again, going back to, I hate to say it this way, but
They were near
Does
mint.
Coulson's death even matter? Like, why did they need that? If Coulson's death was enough, shouldn't that have been it? Like, to me, it wasn't enough, but for everybody else, it seems, or for you guys, it seems like it was enough that, him dying propelled the team to take action. But it's
Yeah.
like, did we need the card thing?
Well, here's the thing. I have an answer to both of you. Because Coulson's death, yes, did mean something to Iron Man. It did mean something to
I
Natasha and
yeah.
Hawkeye.
I
But
think Coulson's death meant something. Yeah.
the cards, they meant something to Captain America. Because he's supposed to be the symbol of peace and justice and the American way and such, and to try to strive his best to be the best he can to protect the American people. And there is blood on his cards, meaning he did not do his job to protect people as he should. So I think that's what they were trying to get at. Also, he could be reminding, yeah, this was the fanboy that, oh, the cards, oh, those were the cards, right? And it was just helping Cap get more familiar with Coulson, maybe.
Like he forgot who Coulson was.
Yeah, because he only met him like a second ago. He
No
didn't have a
way.
whole movie with him. He was unconscious most of the time. Coulson was away assembling the Avengers, and then all of a
Nick
sudden,
Nick
like they were like, "Hey,
Fury's
you
a
want to look at my
jerk.
card set?" And then he's like, "Okay," and then that was it.
No, 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 no.
And then he died.
Nope. No
That's
way.
like that's like meeting someone at a Comic-Con that says like, "Oh, cool costume," and then finding out later they died. You'd be like, "I didn't really know him that well." Oh, that was the guy that said cool costume? Okay, cool. I guess,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. That wouldn't make me care anymore.
Yeah.
No, he told me I had a cool costume.
Okay, but what
See,
about the whole blood on the protector
what you
card?
just said is why I actually like hate it even more, because like
Yes.
it makes Steve Rogers seem really vain. Like, oh, he had my cards. Now I have to, do something. I don't know.
Exactly. Well, now everyone's gonna look bad if I don't do something. No way. Nick Fury was a jerk. They
There's
were
the whole
near
world
mint.
out there with my cards, and its name is America.
Captain America didn't. Captain America didn't really need a motivation. Captain America was there to follow orders. He was totally okay with going after Loki. He didn't have a problem with the team. His problem was that his team wasn't listening to him.
Tim, that
Yeah.
was the best thing you've said all goddamn night. If I could stand up and applause, I would.
Yeah, like Iron Man cared because he was like, "Oh no, somebody died because I wasn't like being taking this seriously." And then Natasha was like, "Yeah, that sucks. I knew Coulson. He was a cool dude." Thor was like, "Oh geez, Loki is killing more people. I can't believe it. I'm sorry, Coulson. You did nothing wrong. Thanks for getting Jane Foster safe." Who else is in this? Hawkeye doesn't care. Hawkeye's like, "What? I want to get revenge on Loki." So yeah, like it really was just Tony Stark that we needed to rub his face in.
Hawkeye was like, he was in my head. It felt weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot the Black Widow and Hawkeye fight that she hit
Yeah,
him
they fought. She hit
upside
him
the
on the
head.
head. It was comic wrap up. We needed Hawkeye on our side again. Um
Right.
so now we move on to this is the final setup, right? This is the suit up. Iron
Yep.
Man fixes his suit of armor. Thor becomes kind of worthy again for some reason.
That scene is so weird and so misplaced. The part where he like reaches for the hammer and then it like closes his fist. I mean, closes his hand into a fist, and then like stares at it. And then later on, when everybody else is suiting up, he's like, "Ah, no, never mind, I got this." And like grabs a hammer and like shoots it up in the sky. I'm like, wait, what was that about? I think there was a cut that was missing, part of the movie that was missing.
See, now I think it's because Thor was doing the worthy thing to do and not just assuming, well, time to pick up the hammer and go back to work, and so like that. He was like, should I pick up the hammer, Is it
Maybe.
is it, should I meddle with this whole thing? If I pick up that hammer, what am I gonna do? Am I willing to take down Loki to save Midgard and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, my brother, who I grew up with, we played together. We fought together. Also, I in that scene, I mean, I guess it was kind of cut weird, but I like to think of it as him questioning, "Am I worthy?" And then his fist falls up.
Does he get the chainmail armor again in that scene? I'm totally spacing out.
Yes,
Yes.
because
Man, I love the chainmail armor look. That's classic Thor to me.
Yeah, sleeveless has always been kind of weird to me. It's just like, ooh, look at me.
I like to think that's Thor casual.
Thor's the type of guy that to go into a Taco Bell with a tank top with all the sleeves all the way down to his waist.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can see that. And then we get the whole setup. What was weird to me is Black Widow's read in the ledger comments. Does anybody know she mentioned that like once or twice in the movie? But then Hawkeye was like, "What's going on? Why are you doing this? Why aren't you being super spy? Why are you running into the fray?" And she's like, "I got red in my ledger. I want to wipe it out." I was like, "Are you trying to correct your sins that you committed in the past? Right? Am I getting the gist of that?"
I think the whole point of that is that this is her getting the Black Widow name because she was, worked for the KGB right before.
Right, but people knew she was Black Widow before.
Well, no, that's how she got the name Black Widow. Is she killed a bunch of people.
So she's rebranding the Black Widow name into a superhero.
Exactly.
Ah, man, bunch of rebranding in this.
Well, who else?
You said something about Loki.
Oh no, Loki was just about the branding.
Well, you see, for me,
stuck with
that's a disappointing thing about this movie is that there's a lot of rebranding, but is there bat branding? That's the question. That's the question we all need to reflect on at the end of the night.
I could see Black Widow pulling out some like hourglass thing and just being like,
that would actually
"You've
be
been
really
widowed."
cool.
Like her brass knuckles type of thing.
Although all of her enemies are probably scarred or marked with little like tase marks already. They just got burnt marks on their necks.
Yeah, we find out that Loki is ready for opening night, and he's set up shop on top of Stark's tower, which honestly, like, that's, way to incorporate, Stark Tower again into all this, which I think is a, wonderful world building thing that they introduced. But they have the big old portal thing open up at the top. We're ready for sky beams to enter into movie history.
Sky beams.
Sky beams. The one thing that can probably destroy the superhero universe movie line, like just any superheroes, like to make it like a western and have it die off. Like the sky beams could do that to the superhero cinematicness. And I'm scared. I'm legitimately scared that Infinity War is gonna have like 6 sky beams, and it's gonna be like, well, we gotta take care of those sky beams, and then that's gonna be it. Like then Ant-Man, and then it's gonna peter out. I really hope they don't do a sky beam, but I think they will.
Yeah, sky beams are happening. But we get kind of everyone to show up Tony Stark goes in to intimidate Loki and pick up. I think this is the Mark 18 armor. I think that's right.
Yeah.
I
What do you
have
think?
no idea. After
Okay.
Iron Man 3, I mean, they just.
We haven't even gotten to Iron Man 3 yet.
I know, but they just confused the crap out of me with all of the marks. I only remember 1, 2, 3. I think there was a 5. No, wait, wasn't this one 5?
No, I'm pretty sure this one's 18.
Wow,
Because Mark
I'm way
5 is
off.
technically, I think, the Silver Centurion briefcase armor.
Oh, I think that's what I'm thinking of. I thought it was the triangle suit before he gets the second suit.
Yeah, that one's like, I think 8 or something like that. I don't even know.
What I don't get,
but yeah.
I was gonna say there's this like small plot story. I don't know if it's a plot per se. I think it's more like a way for you to know that Shield is hiding something and for Loki's plan. I mean, Loki kind of lays out his plan in front of the Avengers and nobody kind of guesses on it because the whole like they mention it throughout, like his quip to you, Tony, about the light in the brightness. That's due to your building. I was like, oh yeah, he ended up in his building, and he had some more stuff like spoot ants type of stuff, but it's the Iron Man not being contacted by Shield for renewable energy, and the fact that they tried to use the Tesseract, but instead they use it for guns. But then they still go to that building. I don't know. To me, it felt like it shouldn't have been there, and that it should have something else should have been there. Something like a little bit more of Thor, a little bit more of Hulk, instead of less Iron Man. This movie has way too much Iron Man.
Well, I mean, he's kind of the one that kickstarted it all. I mean, it would make sense for this big old team up movie that the guy to start the MCU is, showing off a bit. Now, here's my question. Did you guys like the whole Loki can't control Tony Stark's scene?
That is a good question.
No.
No, all right. Explain yourself.
I don't. There's certain jokes that the MCU makes that they're just way too try hard, or sometimes they're way too slapstick. Not that I'm not like a hardcore what people call a DC fanboy where I want everything dark and serious or whatever and all that. I like humor. I like laughing sometimes
Mm-hmm.
on certain days. Actually, no, just Saturday. Saturday is the only day I like laughing ever.
Marmaduke
But
on the newspaper. That's when I laugh.
but yeah, this felt like it was way too try hard and it didn't make sense. Like he still has, if the whole point of the mind gem is that it corrupts or can control minds, if what they were trying to get to was that it somehow corrupts the heart, then still he has a physical heart, even though that still doesn't make sense because it's referring to like a metaphorical heart when you're ruling somebody's heart.
Well, yeah, that's my thing is, though, he wasn't controlling hearts. He was controlling minds, sort of. So I never understood why he had to tap him in the chest.
Yeah, it was a whole paradox that didn't make sense.
He didn't really need to tap on his chest. He just felt like that's where most people, that's where, the biggest target is the chest.
Or is Asgardian anatomy, biology so weird that that's where their brain is?
That could be it, and their heart's like thumping. Maybe. But I was gonna say
he's like, I'll find your Gleep Clorp somewhere. I don't think you understand how our anatomy works. Doesn't matter. One of these times I'll get it.
Right. He didn't try anywhere else. He just kept hitting the same spot. I'm like, Loki, just move like 2 inches away to the left or the right, and you'll hit his actual body, and it'll be able to corrupt his mind. I mean, that could have definitely been in it, yeah. But I do agree with the doc when he said that it was just a used joke, used too many times for performance enhanced drugs, or
Maybe it
I
was
was,
all the chlorophyll he drank in the last movie.
yeah.
Another thing it could be is maybe it's the new element. I don't know.
No, no, it has nothing to do with a person's heart at all. It had to do with touching it to their bodies
Well,
so
no, I
that,
know, but maybe the new element emits like some type of aura around Tony,
And makes
and it,
Loki dumb.
yeah.
I thought you
uh,
said make Loki yum with a Y, and I was like, oh,
Oh,
that's yeah.
that's another thing that we.
Which I agree because Tom Hiddleston in this movie really is
I
kick.
was gonna say we were gonna talk about it off camera, but or off air, but that's cool.
Yeah, no,
like we normally do.
like we normally do, like the poster. I mean, nothing. The shrine I have in my closet to Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah,
Did
we
you
do that on Saturdays. That's why I laugh. Um,
So now we kind of get into the big old fight scene as well as the big pan around,
Battle
you
New
know,
York.
the Battle of New York, momentous historical event that'll forever change the world. Yeah.
Which one?
No, the one that not the helicarrier. That one
Although
obviously.
although a lot of people, and I'm talking about audience members, kind of overlooked the mass destruction that was occurring, and then they kind of had to retcon it in the later Netflix series that, oh, this was kind of something that was both good. I mean, people were saved, but it was also, pretty terrifying.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I mean, for me, big old portal aliens start coming down. That would be pretty much it. That would be like, this is it. This is, especially New York. Like, I know
It'd
it
be the
shows
only time
Captain
I would go to Jersey.
uh uh I'm
uh,
like pretty sure I know they show Captain America like trying to get evacuation routes started and stuff like that, but I'm like, there's no way I'm getting out of here, like it'd be backed up forever.
all the tunnels and the subways. It's terrible.
Yeah, all the subways.
We're
But
getting
I'm
way
glad
off.
this was a wonderful scene showing all the Avengers. Never would I have expected Black Widow and Hawkeye to be in there. Um, I was really hoping that we'd get Ant-Man and Wasp early on, but I understand how things go.
Well, actually, here's a thought. If you did have to replace Black Widow and Hawkeye to someone a little bit more power, with someone a little bit more superpower or a little bit more money or something else, like brought a little bit more to the team, who would you put in the Avengers? Just two slots.
Ant-Man and Wasp,
Ant-Man and the
like the
Wasp?
like the OG team, yeah.
Really? Would you have him turn into Giant Man straight off the back, or would it?
Yeah, that's kind of his deal. He goes big, she goes small.
Okay, so
I,
then why
I mean,
didn't?
if you're just talking about in terms of my my ultimate dream would
Yeah,
be having Wolverine there for one thing,
That's a good one, yeah.
and
Spider-Man, you're right.
Spider. I don't know why. The only other person I can think of right now, and it's just because I have the set photos, the recent set photos that were leaked, is Captain Marvel, but I know she wasn't an uh,
no, yeah, he should
originally on the roster.
be on the team. Can't have two captains.
Yeah, that's true. There'd be two captains on the same team.
No, no,
I would have liked Ant-Man and the Wasp. I felt like they would have brought, because I like it when we have like a lot of smart people on the team, and
Well,
Ant-Man and Wasp are smart. Bruce
well, the
Banner and
thing is that
Tony Stark are
Ant-Man
smart.
and Wasp are in this scene. It's just Hank Pym and his wife. They're in the what do they call it? Micro realm or whatever.
Yeah, they're just really tiny.
Quantum realm.
Quantum Realm. Yeah,
What do you call?
I don't
What
know.
do they call it though? Isn't it the micro?
It's
I
the
don't know.
micro quantum realm.
Anyway, yeah,
I was
It's
gonna say,
quantum realm in the movies. In the comics, it's micro something like microverse or something.
yeah, microverse. That's what I was thinking of.
that's it. I was gonna say I really like Black Widow and Hawkeye on the team. You know, they've grown on me throughout the movie. I mean, initially watching the trailer, I was like, "This is like their they say us Avengers Assemble." Are they like? I didn't understand it per se, but now I mean it works. The
I,
characters
I
themselves keep the team grounded. I would say,
I appreciated them in Age of Ultron maybe a bit more, especially Hawkeye, as we get a little bit more into his life. Um, but yeah, let us know in the comments if you appreciate Black Widow and Hawkeye on the Avengers team, and if you're not feeling that fond of them, who would you want them to be their substitutes? Yeah, put them down in the comments.
yeah.
But we get the big old pan, and my favorite part is Captain America giving instructions to everybody, where he wants them, how they're gonna take care of this alien invasion, and everyone just goes with it. They know that Captain America is like the leader, and I was just like, oh man, this is a good kind of scene.
Well,
Yeah.
And if
And then when they
oh,
finally break off, when they're showing their individual, you know, methods of how they are taking out these alien
mhm.
hordes, they, I mean, that those scenes were amazing too, of them sort of using their powers in unison, and
Right.
Hulk tearing apart, tearing through the Chitauri forces. It's
Yeah,
incredible.
I was gonna say, not only do we, like you said, cut to the different scenes of how they're contributing, but they're also helping each other out to be more effective. Hawkeye giving flight patterns to Iron Man, Hulk and Thor just going, to town on top of the Leviathan.
what?
Captain America and Black Widow helping out on the ground, as well as Iron Man flies down and does the total Ultimate Alliance combo move with Captain America's shield. I was just like, geez Louise, this movie's like this is totally one of the better fight scenes in the MCU.
Yeah, I don't think anything compares, even Civil War. I mean, because they're such iconic characters doing such iconic moves.
Yeah, exactly.
I was gonna say, I think it's before this where Thor and Loki have another brother to brother moment, where Loki kind of tricks him again, saying like, "There's no way I could stop it, even if I wanted to," but he doesn't quite say that. And then Thor's like, "Oh snap, my brother's back! I'll help you. Together we can do it." Ow, what's on my side? And then he's like, "Ah, I stabbed you. I stabbed you in the side." He's like, "Dang it!" And he picks up Loki up and just tosses him on the ground. Oh man, another great scene by Chris Hemsworth and Tom Hiddleston together. But I just thought it was also interesting their dynamic leading up to Ragnarok. It's always interesting when those two characters are on the screen.
No doubt. And then when they're sort of going through all this mayhem, and then they break through the glass through that one building, we get that really great moment of Hulk and Thor standing there, and then Hulk, punches Thor. That was really awesome.
Yeah, I
Oh,
guess that
yeah.
I guess that's a good running joke of Thor getting hit, because that was all throughout the Thor movie. He gets hit by the car. Uh, what else? This one he also gets hit by. What else does he get hit by? Oh, when Iron Man runs into him, when he's like, "Now you listen here to Loki," and then he gets blindsided by Iron Man.
I almost wish that, because we've had so much interactions with Hulk and uh, not only Thor and Loki, um, but yeah, he just like hates Asgardians in general. I almost wish that we would have gotten something between him and Odin, but
Ooh, that'd be good.
I know it'll probably not happen now. But
Well, yeah, he's dead now. um,
um,
but yeah,
but yeah, so many great fight scenes in the final act. Uh,
Well, we didn't really talk about the villains in this. And what did you guys think of the Chitari?
Oh yeah, Chitari. Were these guys made just for this movie? I forget. I never remember hearing them from the comics before this.
I believe so. Yes, I believe they were created for the comic this movie because I think okay, now we're getting into the theories and the whole fandom, but it was supposed to be scrolls, right?
Yeah,
Oh my god, I still can't believe that. I still can't believe they would do scrolls straight off the back in the sixth movie.
I actually would have liked it because then from there they could have been like, we got all the scrolls, right? And they're like, yeah. And then it's secretly like it pulls the Thor ending and like one of them secretly a scroll, and that's like that'll come later, and then boom, Secret Wars.
Yeah, that would have been so great, but those stupid copyrights.
Not anymore.
No, well, I was gonna tell y'all that the Chitauri, they call them the Chitari in this movie, but they actually are in the Ultimate Comics because they were in that animated movie that I brought up earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Only in the animated movie they called them, pardon my French, they call them the Shitari. So I've always known them as Shitari because of the animated movie, but then you kind of run into that whole mess there. So it's probably better to call them Chitari. That's probably why they did that. Thank you, Disney.
Thank you, Disney. That's hilarious. Hey guys, we got
Um,
a great army. Loki, you know what? Actually, there are two differences, the Shitari and the Chitari. But then Loki was like, wait, what's that one army called? I don't want that army.
Yeah. And then
uh,
also in the comic book, uh, source of vibranium.
What?
oh really?
Yeah.
What do you mean, like their bodies?
No, just like it was an element from their planet or whatever that
Yeah,
millions of
Chitari and
years ago,
Vibranium are from the same place.
yeah,
Okay.
millions of years ago, I guess they like crash landed on Earth, and that's how the Wakandans got it, and that's how they made their technology.
Yeah, those Wakanadas. Uh,
What I was gonna say,
yeah, go ahead.
I think they could still probably pull off scrolls now that the whole rights thing happened, so like that. I wouldn't mind
Definitely.
them kind of like being introduced to the Fantastic Four and then being like, oh wow, these guys are so cool, and then psych, the Fantastic Four are actually scrolls, and they're all like, what? You guys aren't cool. And then we don't have to talk about Fantastic Four being in the MCU ever again.
That would be cool if there was some sort of rumor going around that they might continue or carry on with the actors from the reboot Fantastic Four, Baby Fantastic Fours, whatever you want to call it.
Fan Four
Uh,
Stick?
so if they actually did decide to continue with those same actors, then I would totally be down for them being scrolls because I don't
Yeah,
like Um,
exactly.
Wait, are you
but
saying, wait,
oh what?
let me get it straight. Are you saying that the Fantastic Four exist, but then the Fantastic Four we meet are squirrels, and that there are Fantastic Four out there being
Yeah,
captured?
Yeah,
like Avengers are just hanging out, eating their shawarma. All of a sudden, a portal opens and the Fantastic Four show up, and they're like, "We're the Fantastic Four," and they
and
do
Okay,
this
their
is a
whole like, "How can we trust them?" kind of thing, and then they like show their credentials or something like that, and then they team up to fight a bad guy, and they're like, "Yeah, you're great," and then it's like, "Psych, we're Skrulls," and then they fight him and they beat him up, and then we can be done with Fantastic Four.
and this is off topic from the movie, but it falls in line with what we're talking about. But Kevin Feige actually came out and he was talking about this whole Fox deal that has been going on, and he surprisingly he said that he uh, wasn't aware of anything that has been going on. Like he just showed up in the office one day and they were like, "Oh yeah, we're doing this thing with Fox." But according to him, nothing has been finalized yet. Like they're still in the works, I guess, doing the paperwork, whatever needs to be done, and that nothing will come to fruition till uh I think he said like end of 2019. But with that said, I kind of think he's pulling a fast one on us just because they sort of did, I believe they did the same thing with Spider-Man
Mm-hmm.
and uh we saw how that turned out. So I don't know. I think he's pulling a fast one on us, and he is holding back some surprises that we'll be getting, some little goodies that we'll be getting in Infinity War.
I could see that. What do you guys think about Hulk's voice? Because as we know, Hulk confronts Loki, totally takes him to town, and we hear him speak.
I don't like it. I don't like it. I mean, you it sounds like it's, automated, like it's done computer generated, and it's
It very well felt like pre-production, like they were not done with it yet, and they're like, "Oh, we forgot to edit the Hulk voice. Oh no, I can't believe that made the final cut."
call Mark Ruffalo on a crappy phone.
That's
Well,
when
no,
the
not
guy.
that. Like they forgot to do it, and they needed it for crunch time. I
Yeah,
think
that's when their
they
sound
like
editor guy sinks in his chair during the premiere.
exactly. I think it already went out. Yeah, and they were just like, "Oh no, I
Like,
thought he worked on it. That file didn't save. You didn't hit the little floppy disk in the corner. Oh no."
it was a rough draft. You saved the rough draft and not the final product. Ah, gee.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's terrible. Doc, what do you think?
Oh, agreed. Absolutely. It sounds
Yeah.
like I'm gonna do it right now. I don't know if my mic will pick it up, but it sounds like his hands are over his mouth and he's like, "Ugh, ugh." That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Did you say puny god? I didn't hear the puny god.
I don't know. I never heard him say it either.
He says that's
Well, also because I remember I think Tim has said this before too, that when we had seen it, both of our theaters, the people started laughing so much that we couldn't even hear what he had said to begin with.
yeah, yeah. My biggest thing was it was too small of a line and very distorted voice that I couldn't hear what he said. So,
Yeah, it was
um,
awful. And
I
I was gonna
I
say
just
one
felt they
thing.
really. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say we also didn't really talk about him turning into the Hulk either. But
Yeah,
everybody knows that's
I
in
think we
the
all
scene.
agree it's kind of a cool scene. You get to
Yes.
see the Hulk transformation in the day, punches a big old space worm in the face, and then it blows up thanks to Iron Man. Like, yeah, it's a cool scene.
Okay.
I
I just
figured
want to make
that
sure
was.
that we didn't skip it. It's awesome.
Yeah. I don't get how the whole "I'm always angry" thing works, but yeah, I get it. It's quotable. It's memeable. That was memes for the longest time. Um, but yeah, for me, I think they just really got it perfect with Lou Ferrigno. And then I guess at Marvel, Disney, I should say Disney Marvel, they always want to try to do their own thing, and I don't know, it just doesn't work. But after we get Hulk confronting Loki, uh, Natasha Romanoff, she's there to shut down the portal. But oh no's,
Anyone hear
the
me?
big shadowy group of old people decide to shoot a missile towards them.
Yeah, that was crazy. I mean, what would you do in a situation where you're saying like aliens are invading Earth, but they're only in New York for some reason? They seem contained there. Let's blow it up. That just seems like ridiculous. Like, no, that's not a good answer. The good answer is probably send everything you got at it first, and then when that fails, blow it up.
Yeah, I mean, I would have checked with the army and the police and even Nick Fury and be like, "Yo, how's it looking down there?" And they're like, "Yeah, it's not that bad." You know, that's what I would
Yeah.
have said.
I kind of like that they didn't uh, do that though, like incorporate the army being like, "What's going on? Gee, Whitakers, we got to be here
Oh yeah,
now."
yeah, exactly. Well, I
Because
mean, they
I
kind of
think,
did, and then Captain America shut that down real quick.
yeah,
No
I think
questions. Do what I say.
Man of Steel suffered from that a little bit.
Well, there, I think, you know, again, I think they would have asked probably less questions if it showed him actually saving some people. No offense, I like Man of Steel a whole lot, but I mean, come on, something.
Well, no, I was just talking about the army thing, but yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Right. I,
I liked how we get to see the whole Captain America jab at Tony, saying, when it comes down to it, you wouldn't make the sacrifice play for Iron Man to all of a sudden be like, put everything in the thrusters. We're gonna go catch that missile. Total Superman. Speaking of Superman, yeah. Now that we're talking about Man of Steel, speaking of Superman, pull a Superman and lift this missile up.
right. Well, why didn't the council just shoot the missile at the portal? Did they not know a portal was happening? Because if they did, if they didn't, if they just shot the missile off the ground, it wouldn't have stopped the invasion. But if they shot the missile in the portal, like Iron Man did, then it probably would have contained it at least. I don't know. Just seems
Yeah,
like that shadowy council isn't that really better off
there's a
leaving.
bunch of old people.
Bunch of
Yeah.
old people. Those old geezers.
Yeah.
What did you guys think about that one scene with Captain America, like taking on the Chitauri in a bank or something, while the hostages were being held?
That was pretty good.
Really? Because
Oh,
apparently, in the director's commentary, that scene was only there so that they could take his mask off. Like the
yeah, it makes
Chitauri
sense.
grabbed him and pulled a mask off, and I was like, okay, cool. That's it.
Which
That's all we.
again,
And they like
I've
threw him out of the building.
I've brought that up in I forgot which other review we were doing. I think it was Captain America, but I'm not too sure. It might have been one of the Iron Man films. But oh no, in fact it was Thor. Sorry, I'm getting off topic. But um again, I hate it that you're an actor, you're already getting paid a whole bunch of money. To me, I don't mind if an actor won't cut their hair or dye their hair a certain color, but you wear the costume you're given. Like, this is sort of going off topic, but like with the Star Wars films, the fact that Kylo Ren is always taking off his mask kind of bugged me in Force Awakens. It's like you're getting paid to do something, just do it. Just wear the thing. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I don't think I have a problem so much with Captain America more than I do with like Thor. Like Thor, I'm like, man, it really stinks that we didn't get that helmet right
true.
now.
Yeah.
That would have been great. I did like how they ditched the triangle Iron Man armor for the iconic circle one. I was like, oh, thankfully we got that wrapped up. But yeah, trying to, and I guess we did get chainmail armor on Thor. So I mean, if I had a choice between helmet and bare arms Thor versus chainmail Thor and no helmet, I would have liked chainmail Thor.
Right.
Like with Tony, they did it masterfully by showing, his face inside the suit because we can't look at a
Yeah,
CGI
right.
figure the whole time. That makes sense. I get that, but yeah. And I guess like what you said with Cap, it's not that big of a deal. I'm just bringing up a bigger thing in
Uh-huh.
in Hollywood. But yeah, with Cap, it's not that big of a deal. But because for the good majority of the film, he is wearing the mask. Um,
So like all aliens, invasions, and all aliens, you take out the big one, all of them else fall, and boom, the alien invasion, the Battle of New York, it's over.
Did
Avengers are
anybody else
victorious.
Did anybody else think when the nuke went off and destroyed it that that was where Thanos was, like, and the other, like that was where the chair was sitting in? So when it blew up, I was like, oh, is he gonna survive? Or I mean, obviously he's gonna survive, but did you just
I
blow
I
into
had
some
kind of
untold?
thought that, but again, when I had first seen this, I didn't know that Thanos was in this. I didn't know who the guy was talking to the entire movie. I was like, he either has a split personality, or I was like, I don't know what's going on. Whatever. He's talking to a rock. There's weird stairs going into nowhere. Um, so yeah, I kind of thought that. I was like, oh yeah, they're all gone. The thing that kind of confuses me, though, to Tim's point about the Chitauri and how they, when you blow up the big ship, all of them go down. What confuses me about that is earlier in the film, he had stated that he was like, my Chitauri forces are, I forget what he said. He doesn't say hungry or whatever, but they're like, he basically says like they're yearning for battle. So it kind of gives you a sense that these dudes are like sentient and like self-conscious, but then they're like hooked up to a machine, I guess, that,
I don't think it
you
was a
can
machine.
hit
I
an
think it was
off switch.
totally like queen beehive thing, and they're like, "Oh, we're dominators. We go and we kill everybody, and then we. I just love killing, you know."
Can't get enough of it.
That kind of makes sense. I guess I didn't think of that.
I liked, I'm glad you guys kind of cleared it up with the Thanos with the other talking. But my favorite one is the very end where the council's kind of talking to Nick Fury, and Nick Fury kind of sets it up where he's all like, they're all like, "Oh, Nick Fury, how dare you get our team, our secret team made public?" And I was like, "I don't know, you should have picked different guys if this was supposed to be a secret team." But he goes like, "Yeah, I'm glad because what happened here is a warning, and a warning to all the galaxies that if they try to attack Earth, Shield is here to defend it, and they have just the team." I was like, "Oh snap!" I was like, "That's straight up,
Yeah, that
bring
was
it."
pretty awesome.
But yeah, and then we get Thanos smiling at the camera, and everyone now has homework to do.
Now
Yeah, I'll
everybody,
never forget my friend's. I can't remember if it was my friend or his dad that I was seeing it with. It was one of them. I can't remember. He was like, "Oh my God." And then he looked at me, turned to me slowly, and he was like, "Red Skull." And I was just, I face palm moment. I was like, no, no, dude. I'm sorry.
Red Skull. Ugh, he's colorblind. Hey, I gotta tell you right now,
Yeah.
he's colorblind.
Well, the theater we had seen it in, it was kind of
it was a $2 movie.
dark. Like it wasn't, yeah, it wasn't a great theater to see Avengers at.
There was a no Alamo Draft House. This video is sponsored by Alamo Draft House. No. Dude, I wish if we got sponsored by Alamo Draft House.
I was pretty excited. I thought totally the next Avengers movie was gonna be them versus Thanos. And then I was like, and then for the third one, they're going to do Galactus because that's, he's, how do you go higher than, how do you go bigger than Thanos? Galactus. And that's when I found out about the whole rights thing. And I was like, oh no, what are they going to do? What are they going to do?
Yeah. I know a lot of people, especially in the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, I think it was, or Volume 1, where Thanos changes color a lot. He goes from
Yeah, I
this.
think they weren't.
Good.
Yeah. I don't think they picked the right swatch of purple. I think they had a couple swatches and they're like, what kind of purple looks good on him?
Well, also in this film, this Thanos was actually, it was digitalized, I should say, but it was a man in a suit. And
Oh.
that I had never known about, but I saw a behind the scenes picture of it, and it was like literally a dude in a full blown suit, and I guess they just that's why they kind of only shot his shoulder backside portion because they didn't want to show that it was just like this tiny little guy.
It wasn't Brolin yet?
No, not Brolin yet. It was I believe the model that they used for the CGI for the actual smile. I don't know his name. I don't think he's an actual actor. He's just a model, but he's actually African American. And I wish I knew his name. I see his face, but I can't think of his name. But so yeah, this was like way before Brolin because Brolin wasn't announced till towards the end of Phase 2.
Yeah, yeah. All right. I
But yeah,
think go ahead.
oh, sorry, last thing.
Yeah.
To your point about Galactus and all of that, to me, the next phase or whatever was always an option was always the Celestials and going the Eternals route, because I've always
Going
dug
for
the
that deep
Eternals.
lore.
Yeah, I've always dug the
Your
Eternals, and then
your
when it
friend didn't even
finally,
know who Thanos was, but you were gearing up for Beyond Nerds.
yeah, I still am holding out for Eternals. Kevin Feige, if you're listening to this, get them Eternals in there. Just do it, son. Forget about those Inhuman guys. I never really liked those guys. Get
You
those
heard that?
guys.
You heard that got canceled, right? ABC canceled
Oh yeah, well, yeah, I already had canceled it in my mind.
it.
So
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that was Marvel's Avengers, 2012.
Pretty great
I,
film. It is a global phenomenon. I mean, it's still the highest rating movie, right? It's the most total gross estimate, saying that it's the
yeah,
most.
I think it's
Yeah,
around like 5 million or 5 billion. I forget what's the.
no, it's like $600 million.
Yeah, like anywhere around there. Um, but yeah, let's go ahead, Cian, lead on to your ratings, your rating of Avengers.
Oh yes, crap. Right. Uh, this movie. Dang, you know what's great about the Avenged in this movie? Yeah, that's what it says on the DVD case. No, but in all seriousness, this movie was something that what everybody was looking forward to. You know, ever since Iron Man came out. Let's see if it's 4 years in the making. So I'm just gonna get into it, and gosh, there were some bad CGI moments in this film, though. If I remember correctly, what with the whole Tony Stark getting thrown out of the window and the suit coming to him, man, that looked a little terrible. Dialogue, the humor, the dry wit, ugh. But it's still an Avenger movie. I'll just give it a 5 out of 6 Infinity Stones. To be fair,
5 out of 6. That's pretty. It's pretty
that's,
decent.
that's what I gave Captain America too. So you know.
Yeah, for me, this film did definitely did a lot more good than it did, bad. I agree with you. Some of the CGI, just on a few scenes, like it wasn't too many, but some of the CGI was kind of a letdown. Some of the costumes were sort of for TV material, like Captain America's costume specifically reminds me of something that you know CW would do if they owned the rights to Marvel. Um, but there was a lot of things this movie did great. It threaded so much in from the other films. I mean, like Tim had said previously, we had the Stark Tower and how that played a pivotal role in this film, and how that was threaded in there. We had the Loki Thor relationship. We had Nick Fury return finally, and even in the dialogue that the other gives, where he says, "We look to greater worlds, the Tesseract will unveil." I mean, that's gonna thread into an even bigger uh, web that is Infinity War. So, I mean, this film plays a bigger role than. Uh,
Web, Spider-Verse, yeah, totally. Yeah.
well, I'm thinking multiverse, but definitely, yeah, Spider Verse. Um, but yeah, like this film is pretty decent. However, there's just these little things that I can't get over, like some of the dialogue. Like how I mentioned before, Nick Fury saying, "Are you saying you're gonna step on us?" I hate that line. I don't know why. So yeah, this movie has ups and downs, and so I'm gonna have to. Oh man, you guys aren't gonna like me. I'm gonna give this. I was gonna give it 4 out of 6. I'm gonna bump it up to 4.5 out of 6.
Okay.
That's yeah, four and a
Yeah.
half.
That's
That
not
seems
bad.
pretty good.
You know, I don't deal personally with the 0.5 stuff, but yeah, I mean, if you want to go that route, yeah, that's. I
I don't
mean,
know. It's just yeah. That's the only way I can make sense of it.
it's a good rating.
Um, for me, I think personally, I know I mentioned a lot about rewatchability on it, and I think with this one, I think it does a little bit, you know, lie on the side of depending on where it is, I'll end up watching stuff like that because I feel like I need to watch the majority of it to really appreciate. If it's the last bit of it, or it's I'm not gonna have a lot of time to sit down and watch it. I could, I wouldn't, change the channel or whatever, not hit that record button. But for me, I think this one is all based on impact and how this was a real game changer for I think everybody. I remember I had this like just playing on in the background at like a party or something like that, and there was just one person, and they were just like, what's this? And everybody was just like, you're joking, right? You don't know Avengers, like the movie, it's like that." And they're like, "No, yeah, I don't know what this is," like that. And everybody was just like, "No, done. Stop. Restart this over. Stop what everyone's doing. We're here. We gotta bust out this whole lore for this person, so that way they can understand the like hype level of this movie." You know. So I think that's like a big part about this is the impact of Avengers has on everything. It does have a lot of quotable moments. It even for the people who watched all those movies before, we finally get to see them interact, and they interact in ways that has everyone super excited. I mean, I'm pretty sure this is like the whole reason why Stucky is a whole like that whole ship started. But yeah, I think this is all just based off impact. I think, and that's what it comes down to. So I think you guys are gonna hate me for this one. I'm gonna give this one 6 out of 6. I'm putting the glove on.
Oof.
Dang, I was
Yeah,
not expecting that.
yeah. Well, I mean, I think again, like that whole pan shot again, just rewatching it over again of Hulk, Iron Man, Thor, like this. It was the Avengers, and even though there are some parts just for the narrative, I think everyone was excited for this movie, to see where it was all heading. And then for the very end to see that there was more like coming, it was just like everyone was on board. Everyone got in the boat, everyone got on the train, and we're riding this ride to this day. I think it kind of all started with this movie. I know we mentioned Iron Man was kind of the start of the MCU, but I think this is where everyone kind of really got on board.
Yeah. I mean, those are some great points you made, and I totally agree with them. It didn't change me really on my rating, but to know that this is the Avenger movie, it's just that they had so much time to make this a great movie, to make it a classic, and they didn't really use that time. I don't think they had.
Right. I definitely think some things could have been better. I feel like though the hindrance on that part, I don't think that seesaw falls on the hindrance of Avengers. I think that falls on the hindrance of the solo movies. Because, like I said, I did not like the first Avenger that much. The one before this was what was it? Was it Iron Man 2?
Which one?
The
Before
one,
Avenger?
Yeah, before first Avenger, Captain America.
Oh, yeah.
It
No,
was Iron
oh,
Man
that
2.
was Thor.
Oh, Thor.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Thor. Yeah, that one's really great. But Iron Man 2, and first Avenger. Thor kind of didn't rush into it. I don't think Thor hinted at Avengers really. It was just we got rid of Loki, and Loki's there on Earth with the Tesseract. I didn't think that was gonna revolve around Avengers. I thought that was gonna revolve around uh Thor 2.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
and it didn't at all affect the pacing of Thor. So I think that's why it I didn't like those other movies more than, because of the rushing to Avengers. Avengers was the destination, and it was awesome, I thought.
yeah, that's pretty great. I'm glad that we all enjoyed the film. However, I believe there are some people who didn't enjoy the film. And I believe it's
It's
time to meet those people. I believe it's time to enter the negative zone. Was that a good segue? I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, good, great. Yeah. To be honest, I don't know if this was a lot of people, just DC fanboys hating on Marvel. There were quite a few negative zone members for the Avengers. I got one here. It says from Daz in Paris, a 1 out of 10, 1 out of 10 stars. It's it's a failure. Here's why. Here's why the Avengers fail so badly. Number one, wrong director. Josh Whedon is a TV director. Bad move. This should really have gone to J.J. Abrams, Brian Singer, or Brad Bird. I mean, all I know is J.J. Abrams from that lineup. But number two, it's a dreadful
Singer
miscasting.
did some of the X-Men.
Oh, okay, cool. Number two is dreadful miscasting. Only Robert Downey Jr. can hold his head high. Chris Evans is wooden in this, as flat as the Captain America film. Those playing Thor, Hulk, Black Widow either phone in performance or look embarrassed. Number three is weak villain. Tom Hiddleston plays a slight camp character who offers little interest and more closely resembles a spoiled teenager than anything else. This film needed a General Zod. And
Mm.
number four is too much CGI. It compares it to George Lucas, the prequels, I believe. And it says number five had no drama, no tension, and no script. So obviously flat that Whedon inserts misplaced self-conscious quips to lighten the tone. I mean,
Oh, is that
it's
it?
a lot of it's a lot of negative.
that's a lot of negative. And I mean, I had to shorten it too. I had to shorten it. Otherwise, this would be like 9 paragraphs long.
Yeah, I have to agree with one of the sentiments made. I mean, to a degree, uh, one of the sentiments made about uh, Chris Evans being wooden, because I had mentioned that earlier in while we were talking about the movie. But um, Tim had a better way of putting it. It was just bland. It wasn't robotic or wooden, but for me, it was bland. But I can see where that gentleman is coming from, or uh, you know, person. Um, but yeah, that's one of the reasons. Like Tim gave a really compelling argument, and I was actually fixing to change my score again and bump it up again. Yeah, because that was really compelling, Tim. But yeah, there's just certain things because I actually thought that his performance, because again, that person brought up the first Avenger. He was like that. He's wooden, just like in the first Avenger. I thought his performance was actually better in the first Avenger than it was in this movie. So
Mm.
it's just a culmination of all these things that's the reason why I gave my 4.5 score. But yeah, I
Uh,
mean,
yeah.
they all give compelling arguments.
I feel personally attacked when they went after Tom Hiddleston, because I feel like Tom Hiddleston. I could not think of a better person to play Loki. Like, I'm sure that I wasn't into fan casting when this movie came around. It's like I still can't think of one that other than Tom Hiddleston to bring Loki to
Yeah.
life. So to say that they had a problem with Tom Hiddleston, I was just like, that's crazy. I don't know what to. I kind again I agree with Chaz about the whole everyone kind of getting only like a 1 foot in performance. I think that revolves around everyone having to have enough screen time, and everyone kind of had to stick to their corners of who are you? Oh, I'm this character. All right, you're that character, and you're only this character for this movie. Um, versus the solo films that get to check out all the facets of this person. Um, so that was kind of expected in a team up movie, but I can kind of see where they're coming from in that regard.
Right. The reason why I picked this person's negative zone was that it said the line, "This film needed a General Zod," and that's with the quotation marks on it. Do you think the movie? I know I shouldn't be asking Tim this, but more toward the doc. How would you feel if this movie had a more General Zod type villain?
Well, I think that's pretty serendipitous that they said that because I mean we have this scene where Loki is like Neil, so I don't know if that's why they were saying that, but I don't know. I feel like he. Oof, this is probably gonna upset some people. Um,
It's the internet.
I feel like
But
he actually superseded the Christopher Reeves General Zod. I was fixing to ask. It depends on what General Zod you're talking about. I'm assuming they're talking about the Christopher Reeve one because Man of
I
Steel
don't think
wasn't
they're
out.
talking about, yeah.
2012, so
Yeah. Um, so yeah, the Christopher Reeve General Zod. Um, yeah, I think this one Loki definitely surpassed General Zod because talk about being robotic or giving a wooden performance. General Zod was kind of flat, one note in the Superman movies, but uh, I think that's why he needed two other people as supporting characters. But anyway,
I,
um,
okay.
sorry, definitely to Tim's point, Tom Hiddleston brought, like, quite literally brought a youthful vigor to Loki's character because in the comics he was always portrayed as like older than Thor, and he was kind of like this old man. And I was always curious. I was like, who would they get to play Loki? Like, I can't see anybody that could challenge Thor physically and still be Loki. So, to Tim's point, I can't see anybody else playing Loki than Tom Hiddleston.
For me to pull out the comparison to General Zod, I mean, with General Zod, we have his kind of simple backstory. I don't want to say it's simple. I mean, yeah, it's understandable. I didn't really get the impact of General Zod until the Man of Steel one, where he was like, "This was all I was. I was here to protect Krypton, and you took that all away from me." Whereas this one was, your dad was a jerk to me, so I'm gonna pull the whole sins of the father and take it out on you, or something like that. Um, So, I mean, I think there's a lot of great moments with this one. I mean, Loki, we got to see where he comes from in Thor, and we get to even see more of that, like we said, on the mountain scene where he talks to Thor. Um, we also get his more, like Chaz pointed out, with in the Germany where he's just like has this whole like the kneeling scene. But for me, another big one was when he has the scene with Black Widow in the chamber when he's like, "I'm not going to kill Hawkeye, not until I have him kill you slowly and intimately." I was like, in every way, that you fear and everything like that. I was like, "Geez, Louise!" Like,
made me super
way to,
uncomfortable.
yeah, way to turn on a dime. Knowing, being all confident and suave to, you don't know what I'm capable of.
Yeah. All right. Should we go into another one? I
Yeah,
got a
let's
couple
do it.
more. I got one from Mad Dog 50. 1 out of 10 again. Man, these guys are just brutal with their ratings. He goes, it is known that many big internet shops hire review agencies that those only jobs it is to fake authentic looking customer reviews because a lot of buyers trust the reviews of other customers more than any magazine reviews. That's what's happening here. 80% of the reviews here are written by professional review agencies, which got paid by the studios. If you look closely and compare the text of those best movie ever reviews or variations of such as I did not expect much, I am not a superhero fan, but this was the greatest beyond belief, with reviews written at other moviegoer platforms, you will find a lot of equal phrases and text blocks. This movie is another superhero movie with the same formula. Superhero movies need super problems to solve so that they can shine. Each hero has to face the kind of super problem which is appropriate to his or her individual superpowers. They only can defeat the evil threat when they work as a team. But suddenly, some social problems between them jeopardize the whole mission to save the humanity from the super uh, tread, as you can guess. And only toward the end they find together again, and etc. etc. A story for retarded 8-year-olds, flavored with as much CGI as your little brain can swallow in one time. A stupid movie with a stupid story, stupid characters, and with stupid attitudes, stupid CGI, and a stupid ending. It is stupid. Stupid means blockbuster. There you go.
Well, I mean, it's up for debate about his whole point about people getting paid to write certain reviews.
I was
But
gonna
hey,
say that's what somebody who gets paid to write reviews would say.
I
They would
was
be,
gonna say, but hey,
don't trust this stuff.
that's why we're here to review this stuff, and I'm here to say that this guy is indeed stupid. Um,
I was gonna say he was kind of on a roll for a second, but then at the very end,
As I was reading, I was like, man, this guy's got some points. He sounds pretty intellectual. And then I was like, oh, wait a minute. The last sentence really, never mind. Mad Dog 50, you're crazy. Yeah, I wrote that because how I chose that one because of how ridiculous he was. Conspiracy theory that the half of these reviews that are good says that they are fake written and that they are paid by the studios to do such, which is really kind of tinfoil hat kind of talk if you think about it. And
well,
so
I don't
what?
know. It, there is somewhat some truth to it because I remember when before the and I'm not throwing any sort of shade whatsoever, but before the Collider people joined Collider, they were with that movie studio company. I'm forgetting, blanking on the name. Um, and a lot of their pre-reviews before they would give like spoiler reviews, they basically, wouldn't really give their opinion because they wanted people to come into that movie theater and see the movie. And it makes sense, why would you want to counteract what the theater you're working at, why would you want to counteract that? So I mean there's something to be said about that because yeah, it's weird.
I thought the handle was appropriate, Mad Dog 50, because I just thought this was the same, this was the actions of an old angry dog, just a lot of barking, just a lot of just the same old, just a lot of noise, just a lot of noise. So yeah,
It's
that's
like
what
when
I.
you hear your dog barking in another room and it's like very serious and you're like running over like what? And it's like barking at the closet door like rah, rah. You're like, there's nothing in there, you idiot. Man. Yeah.
It might be. I would open the closet door. That sounds kind of scary.
I was
AMC, that's the theater group. Sorry.
yeah. I was gonna say he does have a point though, right before he goes off into his tangent about it being stupid, is that
Mhm.
this is basically a cliche superhero movie, or maybe a superhero movie that started the cliche. I'm not too sure, where it was a problem, but then they fight with each other, then they resolve it, and then they team up at the end like nothing happened.
And then you also
Yeah.
get a sky beam.
Yeah. And then throw a little bit of spy beam, and guess what? You just put it in the oven. You
Which, by
just
the way, I
superhero.
want I want the people in the comment section to write us. I want you to tell us your first skybeam that you experienced in theater ever. What was the first movie that had a skybeam in it?
I think it was an Independence Day for me. Does that count?
Yeah.
Because they shoot down a beam from the sky, but it's not like a shooting up sky beam.
Let
For
me
me,
ask
I
you.
think it was Transformers.
Was the beam in the sky?
Well, yeah, but is it a sky beam because it goes up into the sky?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so mine came from the sky technically and
Ah,
shot down and blew up the White House.
yeah. Yeah, it's a good horrible horrible question.
Is there a dictionary uh, entry for sky beam?
Whatever
Is
you
that
do, don't look up Urban Dictionary on that sky beam. I made that mistake. It means entirely different.
I pulled out the sky beam.
Yeah. Doc, do you
Um,
have a negative zone?
um,
Or did you not even want to look? Because I was a little hesitant not to look at these negative zones. I didn't want my love of this movie to be tainted by these negative zone members, but I had to do it. But yeah, did you
I,
get
I,
any?
I did have one, but I think amidst the turmoil of y'all dragging the skybeam joke into the ground, ironically, uh, I lost it. So
Okay. Well, I think I'm gonna end on a lighthearted one because this guy gave it an 8 out of 10. But he did say just more superhero garbage. Maybe I'm thinking he gave it an 8 out of 10 to get it some looks at. It's from I have no idea that name. Tim, I need a name.
uh, you can call him Dennis Flynn.
Dennis Flynn on May 11th, 2012 says, "Now, I'm not a huge fan of superhero flicks, so maybe there's something I'm missing here. But walking out of the theater, all I felt was that I had seen 2.5 hours of nothing but action and drama. Maybe that's its purpose? This is hardly an interesting or exciting film, and I see no reason for the rave and reviews or exceptional money it is making. It felt exactly like every other superhero movie that had ever been made. Even more so, since it's a combination of all those previous heroes in one film. So really, it's not original or different or exciting or moving or anything. It just is."
wow, that
Yeah,
that is something to think of about.
Dennis Flynn speaking some truth. I really like this one because
Yeah, I
it.
mean, the
Go ahead.
movie itself, I remember, people were freaking out about it, and it was a little bit, to me, it was a little bit overhyped in my opinion. Um, but I mean, I can see why, because again, going back to our conversations about Thor, some of these movies, Thor included, they had so much writing against them that I think to see these characters succeed in their standalone movies, it just got people jacked. And then from there on, like what Tim was saying earlier in this conversation, uh, uh, this was the destination. And so the fact that those characters succeeded in their standalone films, and then we arrived at this destination and they're, still succeeding, it just was enough to tip the scales and make people, go crazy for this movie. But, it was it's a good film. You know, I disagree with some of the other stuff this guy said, but yeah, that's just me.
Tim, do you
Uh,
have anything to say?
Give me the last sentence of his review again.
It said, so really, it's not original or different or exciting or moving or anything. It just is.
Um, yeah, see, I think that's where I got tripped off because he's like, it's not original or different when it is. I mean, this was a big old plan from Iron Man. It was get Iron Man, get Thor, get Captain America, get Hulk even because Incredible Hulk. I mean, we'll make some changes along the way. But yeah, I don't think it was ever like done this way before, where it was get all these movies and let's put them together in a thing, you know. Whether it was original, I mean, I think the MCU has grown into its own kind of universe. It derives a lot of stuff from the comics, but in itself, it becomes its own entity. I forget what number universe technically the Marvel Cinematic Universe is. I think it's like 9999 or something like that. But yeah, uh, yeah, I think that was just my biggest disagreement about how it was not different or original. Like, like, oh, this didn't do anything different. Well, it kind of did. This was kind of a gamble, and I think Marvel and Disney, use that Disney magic, that Marvel charm, and made something great.
Well, the reason why I chose this is because I don't know if it is such a great movie in his eyes. I shouldn't have said that. Hold on. I'll retract that statement. But it's a movie that's with withheld from the audiences for 4 years since the Iron Man, since the first tease of Avengers. So you're like, hey, we might be doing Avengers, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. But then you hold out a movie for 4 years. Don't you think at the end you would like be so excited that you wouldn't see how not so great it is?
Well, yeah, I could see a lot of people got too hyped and it didn't meet their expectations. Like I said, I wasn't expecting Black Widow or Hawkeye. I was expecting Ant Man, Giant Man, and all that kind of stuff. But you know, it, hey, you got to be, life isn't fair or whatever. Yeah, not gonna get the
It's
perfect
like what Bruce
Avengers.
Banner said, we don't always get what we want.
Exactly,
That is
bingo.
good.
All right, that's a good ender right there.
Yeah. All right. Let's get how I yeah, it's always hard to find an exit here. Oh, all right. There we go.
Uh, that was our thoughts on Marvel's The Avengers 2012 film. Let us know what you think. If we missed, there's a lot to unpack with this movie. So if we forgot one of your favorite scenes, or you wanted to give your input on something, a new look onto a scene maybe we didn't like or something like that, please leave it down in the comments. Um, if you like this video, please like it. If you want to see more, if you want to, want to see more from us, maybe even after Infinity War, subscribe. All that we appreciate, all the views, all the followers, all the subscribers that we're getting. We're doing this content, like we say, for nerdy people because it's a nerdy show because that's who we are and that's who we care about. So we appreciate all that. Just a reminder, we're still doing that Black Panther giveaway. It's coming up. It's man, it's almost here.
Yeah, like 14 days.
Uh-huh. I don't know if any of you guys are following up on the Black Panther album, but I saw that uh, set list playlist. I forget what it's called. But that got leaked or that got released out from Kendrick Lamar. So I'm excited to hear that once that drops.
Cousin
Um,
Kenny.
yeah, yeah. Next week it's anybody anybody
Iron
wants to
Man
announce
3.
it?
I don't want to say
You don't want to say it?
it. Not that movie.
I
Not
think
not
that makes
ever.
I think I'm what makes me want you to say it now. Now you have to say it.
It's the third Iron Man film. as
Yeah.
an Irishman would say, but also I say it like that, like just regularly.
All right. So yeah, I guess we're gonna hear some thoughts on that. Jazz is bringing the negative zone to us next week.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's gonna get real negative in there.
yeah. All right. Steven, where can they find you if they want to talk to you some more?
Well, if they want to talk to me, you can always follow me at Instagram. Jeez Louise. At Instagram at _nerdtron. Or you can find me on Marvel's Contest of Champions. That's what I'm mainly doing now, trying to be the strongest summoner there is. It's at Skull Kill Crew with a K, SKK. You can find me at the leader there. So you can find me either at Instagram or Marvel's Contest of Champions.
Cool. Nice. What about you, Chaz?
You can find me exclusively on Instagram at Dr. Cosmic with a KZ, not a CS. Also, this is it, guys. That was phase one.
That was the end
Phase
of phase
one
one.
in
We
the
got
bag.
Yeah, we got to give ourselves a pat on the back. You know what? I'm just gonna clap. I don't even care. I don't even care if it sounds terrible on the mic. I'm gonna boom. That's it, guys. Phase one. We did it. What's up?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for all the listeners out there who have stuck with it so far. And if you're just starting, go back and listen to phase one, and hopefully we'll get through phase two because, boy, those are some crappers in there.
Yeah. Also, leave your thoughts. As you guys are doing your own Road to Infinity War, your own journey as you backpack. Uh, so yeah, let us know what you thought of the different Phase One movies. Yeah, you guys can find me at Fishbone Malone on Instagram. We talk about figs, comics, movies, as well as games. It's a cool place to hang out, a cool place to chill. Yeah, so I think that'll be it. We're signing off of Watchers Week. We'll see y'all next week. Yeah, every day. Let's just keep on watching, yo.
I don't know. I hit it. Dang. Hold up. You know what?
Oh, for the
Oh,
music.
I have my phone on silent. That's why. Hold up. Here we go.
Oh man, Phase One. Here we go.